respected moderators, members of the KLF Advisory Board, and of course, our valued guest who make such evenings memorable and meaningful. Tonight, we have two deeply insightful sessions lined up for you. Our first session is Conversations with Shri Upendra Behera, which is being moderated by Professor D.V. Ramana and Professor Jatindra Nayak. This will be followed by our second session, that is Conversations with Shri Prabir Pattnaik, being moderated by Professor Jatindra Nayak. We also feel truly privileged to have with us Padma Vibhushan Shri Sudarshan Sahu, Distinguished Artist and Advisory Board Member of KLF, and Shri Ashok Kumar Bal, the CEO and Patron of KLF, who with their presence add so much grace and inspiration to the evening. So to begin the evening's proceedings, may I now please invite upon Shri Ashok Kumar Bal, the CEO and Patron of KLF, to introduce our esteemed moderators and contributors for today's evening. Sir, please.
Thank you, Sweta. Dear friends, it's a great honor and matter of delight for me, on behalf of KLF, to invite you all to this evening of conversations. In fact, your enthusiastic response in terms of presence is very encouraging and very enlightening for all of us. Before I introduce the speakers and the moderators, I thought it's appropriate to tell a brief about the KLF. The KLF, the Kalinga Literary Festival, has been there for last 12 years. It has occupied a space in the landscape of literary events in India. And we are having various festivals and various functions. The KLF, the flagship function in Bhubaneswar, organized every year, and this year it is intended to be held from 8th January till 11th January. And I welcome all of you to participate and support us in that festival. Besides Bhubaneswar, we have our KLF Book Award, which is again a flagship function in Delhi every year, and that is scheduled this year on 7th March. We have a Kathmandu edition. For last 4 years, we have been holding a festival in Kathmandu, which is called Kathmandu KLF. This year it was scheduled in September, but for reasons beyond our control, this had to be postponed to March. We intend to hold a Colombo edition as well as a Bali edition. So this is a very brief about the KLF. And besides these, flagship events, we have a continuous, we hold continuous series of conversations, discussions on various topics ranging from literature, art, culture, science, and name any subject. We have on very diverse subjects. We have, these conversations under the flagship of Bhava Samvad from time to time. So, this is a festival. I consider this a pride of Odisha, and we have made a mark in the national landscape. So therefore, with your patronage and support, we will definitely achieve higher, heights. Coming to today's function, see, I have the honor of, introducing my friend, Dr. Upendra Behera. He is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. He was the first, he stood first in BTech Mechanical Engineering from IIT Kharagpur. Then, he got into the civil service IAS in 1983. He is a distinguished civil servant, a visionary, administrator, and a great thought leader. So, in civil service, he held very important positions, both in Government of Odisha as well as in Government of India, and made significant contribution wherever he worked. So he worked in Government of India. He worked in Biotechnology Department. Then he worked in Ministry of Steel and Mines, and, and yes, and DDA also, he worked in DDA, and did very significant contribution when he was in biotechnology department. So, and in government of Orissa, with the assistance of the World Bank, he was in charge of creation of what is called Orissa State Disaster Management Authority. And that was the benchmark, and that was the first of its kind in India, and that became a role model for other states, including Government of India, to replicate. So, so this is, you see, as a friend, as a, sort of, as a, the state, we feel proud of his contribution in creating that structure in handling the disaster management. And see, he has been very, he was in home, he was in general administration, and steel and mines, and he held various positions, and has earned laurels and distinction from one and all. And after his retirement, he was in charge of Orissa Electricity Regulatory Commission, and there, in PPP model, his contribution has been phenomenal, and and he has made lasting impact on governance of regulatory bodies like Electricity Commission. So, and he is a PhD in he did his PhD in business management. He did his PhD in business management, and this year, this 2025 has been is a year of stellar achievement for him. He got his PhD this year, and he was awarded. He was awarded, and he did his PhD from the very prestigious Xavier Institute of Management University, and he got the Distinguished Alumnus Award from IIT Kharagpur this year. So, and then he has been I'll tell you, he's now teaching in Electricity Regulatory Policy Research Institute of Independent Power Producers Association of India, which is at Belgaum. And he has become an advisory member of that institute. So, it's a matter of real honor for all of us to have him with us and to celebrate his work and to celebrate his, the award he got from IIT Kharagpur. And incidentally, he is also an advisory member of KLF. So we are truly honored to have him with us. So thank you very much. Let's give a big hand to Dr. Behera for his presence. Sir, yes? And I'll introduce the second speaker first, and then I'll introduce the moderators. See, the second speaker, Mr. Prabir Pattnaik, I do not know how many of you know him, but he is a phenomenal, exceptionally, scholar, exceptional scholar. He is the son of, all of you know Dasya Aja, Dasarathi Pattnaik. He is the illustrious son of Dasarathi Pattnaik. And he is the author of a book called Udayana Guru Padma Sambhava, the second Buddha. This is the book which he wrote. And see, this Padma Sambhava belongs to the Vajrayana school of Mahayana sect. In fact, the king of Tibet in the first half of 8th century invited Padma Sambhava. Invited Padma Sambhava to Tibet, and who supervised the building the first Buddhist monastery in Tibet at a place called Sambia. And he established the Tantric or esoteric Buddhism in Tibet, which is called Lamaism. So Padma Sambhava set up, established this, Buddhism in Tibet. See, why I am saying this? Because there is a story behind this. If you know, Dalai Lama had come to Odisha in 2010 to inaugurate Padma Sambhava Mahabihar at Chandragiri in Ganjam. He came, he inaugurated that. See, during his discussion with the various dignitaries and people, he expressed that there is a popular feeling, very dominant feeling in Tibet and among the Buddhists in Tibet, that this Padma Sambhava is from Odisha. But he said, though this is a popular feeling, but there is no academic research or there is no documentation to support this view. He had expressed this view. Mr. Prabir Pattnaik was there. So this gave a spark to Prabir Pattnaik to explore he began a journey to explore this truth. And there it began. Then in 2012, see, a compendium was published by, wherein various historians, academicians, scholars contributed to various articles regarding Padma Sambhava. And in 2012, when Bhutan king had come, in fact, this is the Buddhist, temple there in Bhubaneswar, he came and he inaugurated that volume. Prabir Pattnaik was also a contributor in that volume, compendium. But Mr. Pattnaik was not very happy because he thought this compendium is inadequate, inconclusive, and insufficient to prove the point. So he began his journey again. He relaunched his journey. And he was completely dedicated to this cause. He spent 10 years on this project, and then he came out with this book in 2024. This book is a monumental work, an extraordinary work, and it has no parallel. And he proved two things. He proved A, the Padma Sambhava is from Sambhal region, which is in Sambalpur from Odisha. So that is the first thing. He proved, his proof was backed by historical, archaeological, epigraphical, and literary evidence. Second, he proved that the Padma Sambhava, who is otherwise known to be from Swat Valley of Gandhar region in Pakistan, present Pakistan, is incorrect. He devoted 8 chapters in that book. The book has got 48 chapters. 8 chapters have been devoted to disprove that, to prove that he is not from Gandhar, that Swat Valley. So it is a very unique book of twofold proof. A, he is from Odisha, and B, he is not from Swat Valley. So this book is one of its kind, and it has been receiving wide acclaim. Immediately after this book was published, I think there was an international conference of Buddhists in Nalanda, and the Buddhist scholars from all over the world, they had come. There was a discussion, and then now it is gradually, his view is gradually being accepted, and it is getting world recognition. So we are so fortunate and privileged to have Prabir Pattnaik with us. So I welcome, and let's give him a clap. He is Prabir Pattnaik. So I am delighted to introduce Professor Ramana from Xavier's Institute of Management. Professor Ramana is one of the most respected management educators and thought leader in finance and regulation. And he is one of the most popular professors in Xavier and one of the longest serving professors in Xavier's Institute. And when he teaches the subject of finance, he does not teach the finance as a subject of curriculum. He treats that subject as being relevant to the world situations. So he is known for teaching the subject or connecting classroom with public policy and governance. So he is a master teacher actually. There are various types of teachers, but he is a master teacher. So, and he served as a member of the State Advisory Committee of the Odisha Electricity Regulatory Commission since 2013. And he brought valuable insights into the institutional reforms, regulatory practices, and discipline in governance. So, I know you'll be glad to know that he has been recognized as XIMB's Professor of the Year, and this is by the Inside IIM magazine this year. So, and he is deeply revered and admired by teachers, colleagues, and industry. So, today's, as a moderator, I'm sure he will bring deep insights into, and his deep insights of his experience as a teacher and as a policy regulator, as a practitioner of governance, the various insights which I'm sure it will be very, very rich and engaging for all of us. And last but not least, Professor Nayak, Jatindra Kumar Nayak, whom we call Jatin Sir. Okay. Professor Nayak is one of the Odisha's most respected scholars and translators, and he is known for his immense contribution to the literature and translations. I know he is educated in Ravenshaw, Morton, Oxford, and he has been retired as the professor of English literature from Utkal University. Thereafter, he has been associated with teaching in Ashoka University, then Ravenshaw University, IIT Bhubaneswar, and he served as a visiting fellow in Delhi University and Jadavpur University. Currently, he is Professor Emeritus, KIS deemed to be university. Professor Nayak's English translations of classic Odia texts have been published by Oxford University, Penguin, the California University Press, and of course by various other publishers. He has received very prestigious Katha Award, Translation Award, and Hutch Crushwood Book Award for his outstanding work in translation. He was a former advisory board in Sahitya Academy, and if I go on narrating, I think you will all have to you will have to miss these 2 sessions. So therefore I would be brief, and I must say that Professor Nayak is an institution by himself. With these words, I think I'll conclude, and I welcome you all to this engaging conversations. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashok sir, for your kind and insightful opening remarks. We are now ready to begin with our first session of the evening, Conversations with Shri Upendra Nath Behera. May I now invite upon the moderators, Professor Dr. D.V. Ramana and Professor Jatindra Kumar Nayak, along with our distinguished contributor for the evening, Shri Upendra Nath.
Madam, we'll start? Yes. Okay. Good evening to all of you. once the famous Kapil Dev was asked, that when a very great batsman is in front of you, how do you start the process, the day? He said that I test the batsman the other side with the toughest ball I have in my armory. So, you know why I'm saying that, So, we have a great bureaucrat, regulator, an IITian, a technocrat. So, obviously, I thought that I will set the ball rolling with a difficult question. Then I will decide how it will go. And it's not my question. When I said that I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Behera, or Dr. Behera, I'm sorry. The question is like this: why do retired bureaucrats always end up with taking positions as the commission's chairman?
Okay, you should have asked this question to the person who appointed me, not me who got appointed. You should have asked this question to the person who appointed me. Anyway, I can justify my coming to this position because we have some wider experience in various fields. Electricity regulation just doesn't relate to electricity or regulation. It relates to various other subjects. And as civil servants, we have worked in various different areas. And to do justice to the organization and to various different disciplines, people from this kind of background will always do good job. But then it's not necessary that always only civil servant or IAS officers have come to regulatory commissions. There have been states, even now also, retired High Court judges have been chairman of regulatory commissions. Very brilliant electrical engineers have also become electricity commission chairmen. So happened that in Odisha we have had a number of IAS officers, but we also had an officer from the Indian Postal Service once who came as he was the first, no, not the first, he was the second regulatory commission chairman. We had one from the Indian Audit and Account Service. So this kind of people have always come. It's up to you all to decide whether civil servants are doing a good job or not.
That's true. That's true. No, that's right. I know that all over. It's not just the Orissa phenomena. It's always. You may ask that why I'm having a sheet of paper. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Behera as a member of the SSC when he was the chairperson. But more important than that, we always say that learning is a lifelong process. I was amazed at the commitment, the sincerity with which Dr. Behera became our student, meticulous learning, meticulous spending time in the library. So therefore, I have come prepared with my notes, So Dr. Behera, you have seen Orissa's Dr. Nayak, anytime you can also chip in. We don't have to make a watertight compartment of power sector and the other when you are talking with a powerful person. Okay, so Dr. Behera, you have witnessed Orissa's power sector journey from days of reform to today, and Orissa, all of you know, we are all actually were the first in not only in the country but in the South Asia to start the regulatory commission. We are the first to reform, set the ball rolling of the reforms. And all other states in the country and other parts of the SAARC countries also followed us, picked up few lessons from us. But my question to you, why is the regulatory participation or participation of intellectuals in the regulatory process not as expected or as evolved in Maharashtra, Telangana or Andhra Pradesh? What is actually ailing the sector? Why intellectuals are not participating? What is your personal view on that?
I would say that intellectuals have all along been associated with the regulatory process. You have been in the state advisory committee member for more than 10 years. You yourself said many such people distinguished in this area have come to the in different sectors have come to the state advisory committee as members, and we have always taken your advice very seriously. If you remember, I used to take these meetings pretty regularly, and I used to hold long sessions, hear all of you very carefully, and we have a Odisha's regulatory process is very in electricity sector is very strong, I must say. We are one of the forerunners in electricity regulation, and as you rightly said, we are the first state in the country to have set up regulatory commission. 1995, Odisha Electricity Reforms Act was enacted. This was the first act in the country, and the central act that governs this sector came as late as 2003, 8 years after the Odisha Commission was created. And in the meantime, between 1995 and 2003, 7-8 other states also came up with, and they more or less followed the Odisha model of the Electricity Commission. Like you said, like Ashok was saying, that our disaster management authority model was the model in the country, role model in the country. Electricity Regulatory Commission of Odisha was also become the model, and let me tell you, we have come up with all new regulation, always the first. We are almost the first. And I had been member of the many of the working group committees when we are members of the Forum of Regulators. All the State Regulatory Commission chairman are members of the Regulatory Commission, and Central Electricity Commission chairman is the chairman. I have been member of many of the working committees, technical committees, and we have always contributed to this. We prepare model regulations which is adopted by the Central Commission and which is then adopted by the State Commission. I would say that Odisha has been a leader in this rather.
That's right, that's right. But you are, how do you, if I'll ask you in one word, you are a regulator or a manager or a controller of the sector? How did you, what was your role?
As the name suggests, I was the regulator.
Yes.
No, basically we actually manage this sector in a way that we create the regulations, we implement it also, we decide the disputes. So in a way, it has got a big control, as you said, it is also a control over the sector. So it gives, fair playing field, and regulatory commission's job is to consider the interest of all stakeholders, generator, transmitter, distributor, then consumer, various kind of consumers, domestic consumers, industrial consumers, institutional consumers, business consumers, agriculture consumers, all kinds of consumers, and you have to strike a balance among all these interests. So regulatory commission actually plays a very important role in this sector.
The way, well, listening to your introduction by Shri Bal, I hope you have seen that, Dr. Behera is an out and out a product of government system. He was a student of the government school. He was a product of another great central government institutes like IIT, then become a government officer. But despite this contribution of public institutions, you have been playing role in attracting private sector to the power sector. Is there any logic behind that? Was it by pressure or by conviction?
Okay. Let me come to the background. Worldwide, electricity reform started in early 80s. In fact, it started in Latin American countries when this technical and transmission and distribution losses were very high. Worldwide, the losses were very high, except for West Europe and Americas, North America, not Americas. Latin American countries were their losses were very high. Peru is the country which started with these reforms first, and today, and they did it in the right earnest. Right earnest, I said, what is the process of reforms? One is unbundling of the electricity sector. Earlier, as you all know, there are state electricity boards in all the states. And state electricity board means they did everything of electricity. They were the generators, they were the transmission company, they were the distribution. And who was setting the tariff? Government was setting the tariff. And who was reviewing their performance? At the end of the year, whatever profit or loss they were making, State Electricity Board, as per the 1948 Electricity Act, the profit and loss at the end of the year was coming to the government account. If they made a loss of 100 crores in a year, the government from its budget used to give that 100 crores. If they made a profit of 10 crores, it will come to this thing. So it was basically government was managing this. So this system did not work. Worldwide, this system did not work. So Latin American countries started with that. And unbundling means every segment will be separate. In the value chain, generator will be separate, transmission company will be separate, distribution company will be separate, and government will have arm's length from this business. Government will not set tariff. The independent regulator will set the tariff. And tariff will be cost effective. Whatever is the cost incurred, genuinely, that will be the tariff. And that is how the process, the reforms are basically, these are the principle of reforms. And as you said, Odisha was the first state in the country. Then we, as early as 1998, we unbundled the sector. We had two generating companies, one for thermal, that was OPGC, Odisha Power Generation Corporation, one for hydel generation, that was OHPC, Odisha Hydel Power Corporation, one transmission company, Gridco, and we had four distribution companies, Central, that was SESCO, NESCO, WESCO and Southco, these four distribution companies. And in the first instance itself, so that government has a real arm's length from these distribution companies, it was decided to privatize those four. All the four were privatized. What happened? This SESCO were taken over by AES, American Electric Supply Company. And the other three companies went to BSES. Then BSES was later on taken over by Reliance. But American Electric Supply came in 1909, and that year this super cyclone was there. The entire, this area, SESCO area, was heavily damaged by the super cyclone, and AES didn't know what to do about it. The damage was so high. You know, the basic principle is anything that is spent on this network or whatever, that has to be recovered through tariff again, because he cannot do it from his own pocket. It has to be recovered. So that is the principle. Any expenditure made, it has to be recovered through tariff. So they said that if you do all these things, the tariff will go up. Government said that you cannot increase this tariff like this. Then they said that, okay, then let government give us money for restoring all these things. Government also, if you remember, 1999-2000, government financial position, state government's financial position was very bad. So they also said that we cannot give this money. So ultimately AES went away. They left this place. And then, as I said, then when AES went away, government came to manage that company, SESCO. Then after 2003 Act came, it said any company who is abandoning or whose license is being cancelled, the management will devolve on the commission. So regulatory commission became the manager of the distribution company. It also says as early as possible, the regulatory commission will put somebody in place to manage it. It cannot, regulatory commission cannot be the manager. The licensor cannot himself be a licensee. They are licensees, and regulatory commission is the licensor. The licensor himself cannot be the licensee. Then Reliance was managing the other three. There are some issues. Reliance also did not manage it properly. There was some communication gap also. There was some gap in the understanding. So at one point, commission decided to revoke the license of Reliance. In 2015, all the three companies licenses. So with the result, all four companies' management came on the regulatory commission. As I said, it is legally inconsistent. A regulator cannot manage a licensed entity. That is why legally it was required to go for selling it. Then we spoke with the government, if they could manage it. They had already washed their hands off this thing. So they said that no, we will not do it. So that is how it had to. It is as a regulatory process. It had to go to. You had to induct somebody. So that is how we went through it. But I would say that, as you said, government companies can also do well. Government companies could have done well. I'll tell you, one state in India is doing very well in this, in the public sector, that is Gujarat. All the 4 distribution companies are doing well. Their losses are within control. Our losses are very much out of control. Our losses 5 years back was more than 30%. 4 companies put together, the AT&C losses, what we call it, aggregate technical and commercial loss, was more than 30%. Fortunately, after this thing, they have brought down the losses to 15.5% now. 15.5%. Bringing down the loss from 30% to 15% in 4 years is very good. Number 2, in the 2024-25, I am told all the 4 companies have registered some profit. They are no more losing. Number 3, in the last year's review, Government of India, Ministry of Power does an annual review. They do a rating of electricity distribution companies. There are 64 distribution companies in the country. 3 out of the 4 distribution companies of Odisha have appeared in the top 10 in the country. That is the achievement that has been achieved. There are certain deficiencies, there are some grievances also. Quality of supply needs to be improved. There are many things are still there. Those can certainly be improved. But one thing, earlier distribution companies were not able to pay the power bill to Gridco. Gridco buys power from the generating companies, they sell it to these 4 companies. So at the end of the month, there is a bill, they have to pay it. And these 4 distribution companies are not able to pay the power bill at the end of the month to Gridco full. And today also, let me tell you, just to cite statistics, countrywide, the electricity bill default of distribution companies to the generating companies is hoping it is more than 2 lakh crores. And it is some 129 days of credit. You would understand it better. 129 days credit, though they are supposed to pay the bill within 45 days, the credit runs to 128 days average last year. And in these 4 distribution companies that have been brought in, one of the conditions is that they will open LC for 2 months power bill in advance. 2-month power bill in LC. So at the end of the month, Gridco raises the bill on the bank. A bank immediately will pay that to this. So that power bill default is also not there. So these are certain results that have come, but there are certain areas to be improved still that should be pursued and done.
You can see that Dr. Behera is very well prepared for the power sector. I think this is the time to change the bowling change. I'll now request Dr. Nayak to shoot his questions to him. Otherwise it was becoming, he was preempting what type of ball is coming now. Now Dr. Nayak.
Thank you. You get the spinner now.
Thank you, Professor Ramana. And your questions were those of an expert. So my questions will be those of an amateur. So my impression of Dr. Behera is that of a very cool, calm and nonchalant person. I don't know how he appears to his family, or I don't know. But I always see him as a very calm so I always thought that, well, he's someone who has never experienced any apprehension, any anxiety, and maybe he was always like that. So since I find him very fascinating as a human being, I'm not asking him questions relating to his expertise as an administrator. So did you always remain so cool, or you have experienced apprehension, anxiety during the journey through life?
I try to maintain, I try to be cool. I normally never get very much agitated. Normally do not get very much agitated. And one principle, somebody told me early in the day that you should not get angry with people. You can show anger, but don't be angry. Angry kills yourself. Show anger. If you have to get particular result for somebody, you can show anger, but don't get angry. So I have been trying to keep the anger to myself inside, not to show it up too much. And I basically maintain a cool composure. To that extent, I normally do not get angry also, not even within. I take everything very cool. Though I do very difficult, I mean, I put in a lot of hard work, all that I do, but never get agitated normally.
Like all of us, you have, say, progressed through, say, village, then a small town, then IIT, then later Tata Motors. You briefly served it as an officer, and then, of course, the civil services. So, in this journey, what were your experiences of
Okay.
anxiety and apprehension? Because now you say that, well, you control your anger, but
Okay. As I come from a small village in Cuttack district, Mahanga. I came from a small school. My village school was up to standard 7 only. Very small school. Though I stood first in my class all along. So from there I went to a bigger school. In standard 7 I came to a bigger school, 3 kilometers away from. It's a very big school in that area. It had a good name also. When I came there I was apprehensive. I'm coming to such a big school. I was topper in a small school, but I'm coming to a big school. That apprehension was there. So in the first 2 or 3 days, I tried to guess who are the guys who are topping in the class. Oh, he's first, he's second, he's third. Okay, so I kept an eye on them. So and as usual, I did my hard work. At the end of the first half year examination, I found myself at the top. So I said, okay, chalo, theek hai abhi. Now I find my place, and that was what I was 100 marks ahead of my second chap in the class in the board exams. About 100 marks ahead of him. So anyway, that was the apprehension how I went there. Then I came to Ravenshaw College. And by that time I had established myself at the state level because I stood 11th I missed West 10 by 1 mark. So I have many friends from Ravenshaw College here today. Ravenshaw College friends are my real friends actually. They are all in Cuttack, Bhubaneswar, so many of them I have, they have come in large numbers.
Can you please raise your hands, Ravenshawians?
Yes,
Oh, wonderful.
my classmates, they are all my classmates.
That's
right.
great.
Right.
I'm a Bijavian.
right. No, all those who raised hand, they are my classmates.
Yeah.
So when I came there, we come from Odia medium schools. There are some English medium students. So when thesis class started with vector and scalar, we really found it difficult. Half the sentences we did not understand because they were taught in English. We were taught in Odia all along. So we were little apprehensive. Ki kya hoga, dekha jayega. Again, after 6 months or after the first internal assessment examination, you got to know that where you stand. So anyway, that phase also went, but initial phase apprehension. Then ISC, I completed ISC, went to IIT. IIT is a national institute, big institute, and you come from a small state, and I had a rank in the intermediate science from Utkal University, but there I was all over the country, all top guys coming. There also, but I put in my effort as usual, but apprehensive, very apprehensive. As you said, what was the apprehensive? I was very apprehensive. So there also, after the first set of examinations, I came to know that, okay, and finally, I stood first in my class. So I gone through this thing, but wherever we went, always it starts with an apprehension. And service also, when you come to the service, this is a different service. You are not taught for this. You are taught something else. You did well with that, but this is a different field. So here also there was apprehension, but as you see, if you are sincere, my understanding is, if you are sincere, everything flows from there. If you are sincere, you put in hard work. If you are sincere, you will be honest. You will be honest to your work. You will be real honest also. If you are sincere, everything flows from that. So when I go to schools, in course my work, when I visited a school, I always say, what is the quality that you should have? I always say that it is sincerity, that is the biggest quality. If you are sincere, everything flows from there. So that is what has been my driving principle, sincere.
I think Well, I think in course of your career, very distinguished career, you have had to take decisions which can involve matters of life and death, for instance, people's livelihoods, people's careers. And for instance, as a teacher, I don't take life and death decisions. My student is bored with me, I am disappointed in him. The world doesn't come to an end. We forget each other, live happily ever after. But in your case, you had to take all these decisions which affected hundreds, thousands of people. And you have been known as a turnaround man. You have made a name as a turnaround man because you have been assigned certain sick corporations or organizations, and you have been able to improve their condition and thereby improve the conditions of people who work there. So what was your technique? What techniques did you adopt? Or were you suited to that kind, temperamentally suited to that kind of work?
Okay. Unlike a subject of engineering or an issue of health, a lot of my doctor friends are here, there are many things black and white. If this is there, you have to do this. So many times in administration, you will not get all the information which are required for technical decision. You will get only 50% information or 60% information. Many times the information that reaches you, you really don't know whether it is correct or not. Who reaches an administrator? Let us say Secretary to the Government of Orissa. Who reaches the Secretary to the Government of Orissa? First of all, a person cannot enter the Secretariat. A common man cannot enter the Secretariat building. So who gets some? Most of the time, middlemen reach you, or it reaches you through some maybe media reports or something. So many things and sometimes this information is also so distorted. You really have to decide what is correct or what is wrong. But in spite of those kind of information, you have to take a decision. Sometimes very risky decisions also, but we have to take on that basis. But you are talking about turning around. I don't really have much time to talk about turning around. Otherwise, I could briefly. Okay. I'll tell you one. My first commercial assignment that I got after coming from the district, I was appointed MD of the Orissa Oilseed Growers Cooperative Federation. Orissa Oilseed Growers Cooperative Federation. I came there. It looked from outside it was doing well. They were selling Suvarna brand edible oil, and that was having a good name. They had a regional office in Calcutta, one in Delhi, one in Raipur, Orissa market also. They were selling it. It appeared little glamorous, but when I saw that, first day I discovered the accounts of this. Sir, you would appreciate it better. Accounts of this organization, commercial undertaking, was in arrear for 4 years. Mr. Kaur, chartered accountant, is here. He knows what is the importance of audit, accounting and audit. 4 years accounts were in arrear, let alone auditing. The accounts had not been finalized for 4 years. So, as a part of our curriculum in IIT Kharagpur, I took 4 papers of management in 4 semesters. 2 in industrial management, 2 in operation research. So I knew how to read balance sheet, profit and loss statement, unlike many others. So I knew that. So I asked my director of finance, please show me the financial statement, balance sheet, and I said, give me the annual report. He said, sir, the accounts have not been finalized for 4 years. What kind of annual report I'll give you? I said, then how are you running the business here? Then give me some. Then what are you doing? He said, we are having some provisional accounts. I said, okay, give me provisional accounts. So he gave me a set of provisional accounts, balance sheet and profit loss account. I took it home, studied it. I found many mistakes and discrepancies. Next day I told him, what is this? So many mistakes and discrepancies. Sorry. I'll rectify it and give it. So 2 days later he comes with another set of balance sheet and profit loss account. Again I go through it. There are so many mistakes again. Sorry, sir. I'll in 15 days, he gave me 6-7 sets of these accounts. So in 15 days, I said, how can you run a business like this? Then I thought that something has to be done. I had gone to Calcutta branch. So I was roaming in the College Street, those old books up. So from there I spotted a book double entry bookkeeping by Batley boy. You know that? Double entry bookkeeping by Batley boy. I said, if you have to learn these people's trick, one has to read this Batley boy. I brought that book. And believe me, within 15 days I finished that book, including on exercise. I knew journals, trial balance, preparing profit loss account, preparing balance, everything I mastered. So I got it. Now I got it. Then this is how. then I engaged a large number of chartered accountants. I don't know whether Mr. Kar, you are there part of it or not, I don't remember, but large number of chartered accountants for finalizing the accounts of all these our branches and this thing, and we did it. We updated the accounts, we audited all that, and very interesting case came up. We are borrowing money from the banks for working capital. Normally for working capital borrowing, you hypothecate some stock. Groundnut was our groundnut. We are procuring groundnut and processing. Groundnut was our stock. Against a particular stock in a godown, these people had borrowed 2 crore rupees from National Dairy Development Board, who was our promoter kind of thing. They were, and same stock they have sold to a big bank and taken 2 crores there. Okay, 2 crores from NDTV and 2 crores from this bank. And this bank normally gives you cash credit. So this bank had a credit limit of 2 crore rupees. And we had drawn 1 crore 40 lakhs that day. 60 lakh was still there cushion. We used to draw it for salary, this, that, other expenses. So suddenly one day, this bank froze our cash credit account. Why? They discovered that these people have shown same stock at 2 different places, so they froze our account. Then our business is stopped. So the director of finance, his first advice is, sir, you talk to the bank and they might. Then I took an appointment with the head of the bank, went to him. I was very passionate. First of all, you cannot draw salary, no petrol, nothing, you cannot do anything. Your factory also will close. So I said, very passionately I made the presentation. At the end of the talk, the head of the bank was there, his credit manager was there, and I was there, 3 of us. So he had ordered coffee. They were drinking their coffee. I had not touched my coffee. I was so passionate that I had not looked at the coffee even. So coffee thanda ho gaya. I finished my this thing. Then he was very courteous in offering me coffee. But when he came to the final dish, and sorry, Mr. Behera, we cannot do anything about it. It is our policy, we cannot do anything about it. I came back home. So we came back to the office, very disappointed. Then somebody told me that there is a bank here, Oriental Bank of Commerce. They are a new bank. Why don't you talk to their chief manager? A small bank chief manager. I called the Oriental Bank. Again in the afternoon over a cup of coffee, I made another passionate presentation to him. Ki, give me some money, I have a good proposal, we'll make money. Okay sir, I'll make a recommendation to the head office. And he came back after 7 days, 25 lakh credit limit sanctioned. It was a big relief to us. And believe me, that 25 lakh credit turned us around. We took up a business that says a year. We made 50 lakh profit that year itself. And with that 25, I tell always, later on when I became finance secretary, I tell all the banks, ki you should look at the problem of the client. What does he need? Is he taking money for something, or does he have a good business plan? And when a company is sick, a lakh or two will really turn him around. But if you do not give him that 1 or 2 lakh, had we not got that 25 lakhs from that bank, Oil Odisha would have gone sick that day itself. And I stayed there for 4 years. 4 years we made profit. But no, the punchline has not come. There is another interesting part to it. Another interesting part to it. What happened? Then we did very well profit. Then we had fixed deposit in the bank. Then this particular bank, I think they got this thing from the head office. What happened to your oil seed account? Why is it not operational? So he wrote a letter to the chief minister. Honorable Chief Minister of Orissa, late Biju Pattnaik was the Chief Minister at that time. So, CM was surprised. Why is a bank writing that take loan, take loan? He was surprised. Then he said, what is this? Then he asked the Chief Secretary, asked the Agriculture Secretary called me. I said, you make a plan here. You make a plan, let us see how much money that bank will give. I prepared a plan. 5 crore short-term loan, 10 crore medium-term loan, another 10 crore long-term loan, 25 crore the proposal I made. Then it was just Sunday. So CM called all of us for a meeting. Chief Secretary was there, that bank head was there, Agriculture Secretary was there, I was there. Then they said, then what? Then he said that we want to finance oil seed sector. And so CM looked at me. What is your this thing? Any plan? I said, sir, I have a plan. 5 crore short-term loan, 10 crore medium, 10 crore long-term loan. Impressive. So, without batting an eyelid, the head of the bank says, we will pay this 25, we will give this 25 crores. CM was very happy. Everybody was happy that 25 crores he is asking and bank is prepared to give 25 crores. That day was big money. Then, business, so then immediately the bank head says, but sir, you have to give us government guarantee for that. That is every banker's trick. If they give it to a government company, they will say the government guarantee. It is sovereign guarantee. It will definitely be discharged. So there is no money is not at risk. But you have to give government guarantee. Biju Pattnaik broadband. Of course I will give government guarantee. Of course I will give. I said, this is the time I must hit. I said, sir, I don't want government guarantee to be given for this. Why? What is wrong with you? Biju Pattnaik was very this thing. Why an MD saying that I don't want government guarantee? Every MD dies for taking government guarantee to political loan, and this fellow is saying that. I said, sir, I have a good business plan. I will make profit. I will generate surplus. I can repay my loan. Why do you have to guarantee my loan? Why does government? Sir, so many private companies are operating in the state. Have you given government guarantee to anybody? I told this thing. CM was very happy. Yes, he's right. He's right. Then he said, then he looked at the banker. He's right. I am not giving guarantee to any private man. We have given them hundreds of crores of rupees. Why do you want guarantee from? What kind of banker are you? He said, what I am not going to tell you here, but he said, he said, well, I don't know to say that. So, of course, Biju Pattnaik, the man he was, immediately, next moment, he said, okay, don't worry. Whatever this boy may say, I was very young that time. Whatever this boy may say, I'll give you the guarantee. Give the money, I'll give the guarantee. So, I will return.
Where is the punchline?
Punchline will come again.
We are waiting for that.
That was a fascinating anecdote. But
this punchline was, I got the satisfaction of my life there. Yeah. When Biju Pattnaik said that, what kind of banker are you? Yeah. I said, incidentally, same man who has refused me that 60 lakh rupees was prepared to give me 25 crores here. Same man was there.
That's the punchline.
Same man was there.
Yeah.
And
but we would like to ask a punch question now. Now, you said that you had an interaction with Biju Babu, then Naveen Babu. Often in the last 2 decades, we have been talking about how to draw a line, the bureaucrats and the politicians. How did you manage that? How did you manage a good distance, maintaining a good distance with the politicians?
A bureaucrat's strength is the law and the rules and procedures. Follow the law always. You have to follow the laws. Do the right thing, follow the law. And when in doubt, dig at the law book deeper. If you have any doubt, see the law thoroughly. If you have any doubt, follow the law. Otherwise, you can take discussion, this, that, but in doubt, law. And let me tell you, there has been so much of debate about bureaucrats versus politicians.
Yeah, we will, of course.
No, one minute. Yeah, bureaucrats versus politicians. I would say that bureaucrats can implement everything, but politician feels the pulse of the people. Bureaucrat cannot do that. Therefore, I would respect politicians to that extent that they feel the pulse of the people and they really come up with, better solutions that way. We can implement, bureaucrats can implement it, but pulse of because at the end of the day, they will go to seek votes. Bureaucrat doesn't have to go to seek his appointment or reappointment. So that is the thing. We must honor that. We must honor that.
But that also brings us to another, I'm sure some of you are aware where I'm coming from on this particular question. I've also shared my views on this in public forum. This is personal question to you. You have been a seasoned bureaucrat and a chairperson of a regulatory commission. Of late, we are seeing that the lines are getting blurred between a statutory position like a commissioner, chairperson of a commission, and presidential position of a private clubs. So, how do you think that is this compromising the independence of the chairperson by being a president of a private club? I
know what you are hinting at. No, let me tell you. Private
Your background also.
No, no. Club president. You are talking of Bhubaneswar Club. That let us be. There is no secret. Bhubaneswar Club initially was a government club with few officers club. And some private people were there, right from the beginning private people were there. In fact, Pattnaik was president of, at one point of time, he was the president of the club. Junjunwala was president of the club. The club was running from Junjunwala garden, near station. The club was operating from Junjunwala garden. So private people had been president, government office, but most of the time chief secretary had been this thing. So as long as chief secretary remains the club, president of the club, there is no dispute. He doesn't go to seek votes from anybody. But when we are outside, we are going to seek votes from people. We approach everybody. We approach people. So there it becomes a little problem. So I would suggest that Bhubaneswar's club should again go back to the chief secretary becoming the club of the president. That would be a better thing.
Yeah, I have a question.
Open for 2 questions.
I'm taking one question. My question is a very simple one. Actually related to... I can round it up. My question is, excuse me. Okay, you're better. Excuse me, actually, basically about your electrical part of it. This coastal area has been known all the time for cyclones. In many international places where cyclone effects are there, the electrical lines are either buried underground or given through cables. Has this commission ever thought about that right from Berhampur up to Balesar, that we make the entire towns and cities and the villages totally cable operated, and so the electricity, will not get disrupted during cyclone. I don't see that. You see overhead wires everywhere. I'm not talking about the high tension. I'm talking in the cities and towns. Can you please comment on that?
See, actually underground cables are very expensive.
Agree?
Underground cables are very expensive. So you have to spend that kind of money for that. But now Bhubaneswar major portion have been covered under underground cable. One major feeder line from Chandka grid up to powerhouse, 132 kV grid is power line has come with underground, and many other places in the city already covered by underground. It's part of Berhampur, which is also cyclone affected quite often. That has also been covered under underground, but it is expensive.
But
So-
overhead cables can be cheap. I've seen in many countries overhead cables are there. So that's easier, cheaper, can be handled. Because see, instead of having 4 or 6 lines,
No, overhead cables for LT lines.
Yeah.
It is already there in the city.
but
Many of
actually,
the places,
you would say about
many places, the overhead LT lines, not high tension line.
No,
LT lines are already
talking about LT lines only.
LT lines. Many are that is used for another reason, to prevent theft.
That's good.
My account.
Madam. Thank you.
First of all, congratulations to Upendra and both of you for that scintillating conversation that you had. So you were talking about your expertise, technical most probably, but work-life balance is a big thing these days. So I was wondering whether your time it was very big, and whether you ever felt that you didn't have that synchrony between work and life. Did you feel that pressure sometime? Whether disappointments in the home front and stuff like that. So I was wondering if you could comment on that.
No, right. To that extent, I would say that my wife is here. I have been unfair to my family to a great extent. But anyway, my wife has managed the home. So that has, we have seen it that way. But because I put in a lot of efforts, I was very sincere. I was telling you when I was heading that organization where we are having losses for many years, I won't be able to sleep in the night. Whole night I will be thinking of something, this, that. I know if you are involved, if you are sincere, if you are involved, you cannot sleep in the night. And that kind of problem, like let us say cyclone time, flood time, there have been many nights we didn't sleep. Many nights. Many nights we have not slept. We just survive like that.
I think Mrs. Upendra Behera deserves a big hand.
Definitely.
Of course. I would like to rephrase your question to him, that he used to regulate the power sector. We want to know who is to regulate at home. You are unregulated, or
No.
who was the regulator at
The
home?
regulator at home is obviously the regulator of the home.
Thank you all for giving an entertaining session. I didn't know that Mr. Dr. Behera was so good at telling stories.
But is there not truth?
No, it's not story. What I'm saying is his narration. It appears to be a story. I have two questions.
Oh, one only.
No. This is related actually. One is that we are taking a lot of pride that we are pioneer in electricity reform in Asia. My first question is whether it was a compulsion loaded on us or we did it voluntarily, number one. And number two, is Orissa was the ideal state to take up this reform? Because it is already 30 years we are through this reform process, yet our electricity sector is not standing up. Thank you.
No, I'll tell you. Why did reform start in the first place? As I said, State Electricity Board, whatever losses they incurred, at the end of the year, they gave the bill to the state government would meet that. So that was the thing. And state government gradually found it difficult to give that kind of money to this thing. And there are no accountability. Sir, I tell you one interesting fact. Every year, there is no concept of measuring this T&D losses. They were reporting something, surprisingly, in early 90s, Odisha was reporting T&D loss of 12% or 13% something, and every year they used to reduce by 0.5%. Religiously every year they will reduce by 0.5%, and it had reached 12%. After the reforms was taken up, because end of the day all loss was being met by the state government. At the end of around 2000, when the accounts were seen, the losses were of the order of 60%. 60%, not only in Odisha, all the states in the country. Losses were of the order of 60%. And they are reporting only 13%. So gradually we are reducing, after the reforms took place, we are gradually reducing the losses. We are talking about Odisha. Today, 17% of the income or revenue of all the distribution companies of the country put together comes from government subsidy. Odisha government to this day doesn't have to pay a single paisa in subsidy. Not a single rupee for the last 25 years or 30 years, Government of Orissa has not given a single rupee in subsidy. But other states, they are giving subsidy, massive subsidies, basically to get votes, nothing else. Delhi, one day they decided up to 200 units absolutely free, and 200 to 400 units 50%. And many states, the tariff in Rajasthan today is 9 rupees if they don't get subsidy. By giving subsidy, they bring it down to 4.5 rupees. More than 50% subsidy is given by Rajasthan government. So if government meets that kind of cost, it has another problem. I had been finance secretary also, I know. Governments are not able to pay this money. In 2005, sir, this FRBM Act came, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act came, which said that no state can have a revenue deficit. So all the states are revenue surplus. Today, 20 states in the country are revenue deficit. Odisha is not revenue deficit. Odisha still maintains a revenue surplus. Odisha is not. If you give indiscriminate subsidy like this will happen. So I would say Odisha has not done badly in this electricity sector. Odisha has really done well. In spite of government not giving any subsidy, the tariff is still not pinchingly very high. And remember, in the last 4 years after this PPP model was taken up, there has been no hike in tariff. Out of all the benefits that we are listing, one of other benefit is that in the last 4 years there has been no hike in the tariff. Because they reduce the losses, so they are able to manage. So without hiking the tariff, they are able to manage it.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ramana, he was there when I was
I know. Well, wonderful to see you.
long ago, those 10, 12 years back, I was CEO CESU. Hello. Yeah, so simple question is, sir, we have been submitting like annual budget we submit to the departments, then the government takes a call on that. हम लोग जब CEO we were heading the distribution companies, we'll project our annual revenue requirement with a particular AT&C loss. Say we'll project it will be 35, 36 or 40%. Those days, still now things must have improved down the lane over 10 years. We were invariably allowed not more than 23%, very well. I mean, OERC knowing it is next to impossible for the distribution companies to achieve that AT&C loss of 23%, whereas the actual loss was hovering around, if LT sector mein dekhenge, LT mein it was hovering more than 50%. I think Dr. Ramana is very well aware, he was part of the board that time, but still we were given, consequent to that, we had substantial revenue shortfall. As a result, we were unable to provide a proper routine maintenance also to the distribution sector. The second one, what Dr. Behera told, I have worked under him when he was a forest secretary also. Government is not giving us subsidy here in Odisha, but it's a cross-subsidized tariff which is leading again to the loss of the distribution companies. So these are the two major things I feel government, as a regulator, ORC should take a call on that and the government should be moved in to provide as other states are providing subsidy. I think then only distribution companies can perform financially better. Thank you.
No question. It's not a question. It's a statement. Thank you very much. I request all of you to give a big clap to Dr. Behera. And it was a very interesting, very nicely combined his personal life with a powerful life, with a strong backup of his regulator at home. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you. I'm sure we might have a few more questions as well, but we can take those. Hopefully, sir will be able to answer those during the high tea. So that was indeed a deeply engaging and thought-provoking session. Our heartfelt thanks to Shri Upendra Nath Behera, Professor D.V. Ramana and Professor Jatindra Nayak for such an enlightening conversation that beautifully connected governance, policy, real-world reform and thoughtful reflection, and also gave us a glimpse of Sir's personal experiences. So we would now like to take a moment to felicitate our panelists. May I request Padma Vibhushan, Shri Sudarshan Sahu, and Shri Ashok Kumar Bal to do the honors and felicitate our panelists with the citations and Uttarya. Sir, please. सर से लिखा है जी. Thank you, Sudarshan sir and Ashok sir, for the felicitation. And once again, our deepest gratitude to our panelists for sharing their time, wisdom, and experience with us in this evening. We now move on to the next segment of the program. As we conclude one wonderful conversation filled with learning and inspiration, it's time to move into another equally enriching session. The second session of Bhava Samvad, Conversations with Shri Prabir Pattnaik. For this discussion, may I please invite our contributor of the evening, Shri Prabir Pattnaik, and our moderator, again, Professor Jatindra Nayak, to kindly come forward and take the stage to begin the conversations. We will be beginning the session in 5 minutes. So we have Jatin sir with us. Over to you, sir, for the second session.
I welcome you all to the second session, and we have with us today a very distinguished scholar on Buddhism. And generally speaking, I think Buddhism, Odisha has a long and glorious tradition of Buddhism for about 1200 years, sir. Am I right? 1200 years, sir? Yeah. But at least Odisha was under Buddhist rule for a very long time, and wherever, I talked to an archaeologist and he told me that wherever you dig in Odisha, you find a Buddhist, the remains of a Buddhist, Bihar or Stupa. So we had a very, very rich and glorious tradition of Buddhism in Odisha. Many aspects of our life are deeply influenced by Buddhism. For instance, many argue, Dr. Mahatab and many great scholars argue that even Jagannath temple is actually a Buddhist institution, a religious institution, and many areas. I was born in a Dhauli, is not very far from here, and some villages. I belong to village near Bhubaneswar, and many villages are called either Bodhakhandi, Buddhipada. So we have as I just mentioned, we have a very rich and glorious tradition of Buddhism. Wherever you go, you find remains of Buddhist traditions. Our literature is rich in Buddhism, references to the Buddha, references to Buddhist practices. So we are extremely fortunate today in having with us a very great scholar of Vajrayan Buddhism, who has, I think Mr. Bala has already pointed out how Mr. Pattnaik has established almost beyond doubt that Padma Sambhav belonged to Odisha, and Padma Sambhav is known in Tibet as the second Buddha, and his scholarship will go a long way in reviving memories of a very glorious Buddhist past in Odisha, and it also relates to the future because we are going to, given the importance of Buddhism in the world, I think once this idea strikes root, once this is accepted by the larger world of scholars everywhere in the world, I think this has many important implications for the future. So with great, this is truly a great honor to have. तेणु मु आमर प्रबीर बाबू को गभीर सम्मान सहित एटिकी स्वागत करुच्ची थरे मिस्टर अशोक बड़ एवं श्री पट्टनायक घर को घरे आप देखिए पाखापाखि 3000-4000 बही बुद्धिज्म उपर अच्छी एते बड़ नीरव साधक से पुणी इंटरनेशनल लेबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थिले बहुत पृथ्वी बुलीचंती किंतु तांकर हृदय रही ओडिशार ए बौद्धिक बुद्ध ऐतिह्य जो बुद्धिस्ट ऐतिह्य भितर तेणु पद्म संभव उपरे विशेषकर पद्म संभव उपरे कहवा पूर्व मु श्रीजुक्त पट्टनायक अनुरोध करी ओडिशार जो आमर गौरवमय बुद्धिस्ट परंपरा रही टिके कहतु कारण आम ओडिशा रे ओडिया होकर मध्य आमर ये जो गौरवबह बुद्धिस्ट परंपरा विषय बौद्ध परंपरा विषय विशेष जान तेणु टिके ता विषय कहीकि आम पद्म संभव आड़ के जा
न कहले भी पद्म संभव विषय जानी हबनी या प्रकृत रे
माइक्रोफोन
ओडिशा को गणुले आज्ञा बुद्ध धर्म 600 BC रे ही प्रवेश कर सारी ख्रीष्टपूर्व 600 तपस्वी और भल्लिक बुद्धंकर बोधि प्राप्ति समय बोध गया ठारे दी भाई जाक 500 शगड़े जाजपुर तांकर घर दी जन जाकर से माने मध्य भारत को जाउथले व्यवसाय करिया को से माने सेठी बुद्धं को भेटिकरी बोधि प्राप्ति पर खाइया को देइथले आरिसा पिठा और महू सीए बुद्ध खुशी होकरी तांकर जो परित्यक्त नख आ केश किछि दी भाई जाक को देइथले दी भाई जाक घर को फेरिकी आपण दी जन जाक दीटा केश स्तूप और नख स्तूप कराई कायमा और तारापुर रे से धर्मशाला से सही समय ही दी भाई जाक दीटा स्तूप करथिले तेणु से दी भाई जाक होउचंती पृथ्वीर प्रथम बौद्ध आउ ये दीटा स्तूप जो केश स्तूप नख स्तूप पृथ्वीर प्रथम बौद्ध स्तूप ये हूँ 600 BC तेणु से प्रचार प्रसार किसी न करथिले भी एतिकी करछन्ति से किंतु तापर बुद्धंक महापरिनिर्वाण पर इमिडिएटली तापर बौद्ध सन्यासी खेम एटा धरतु आपण 500 BC कथा बुद्धंकर गोटे छामु बाँपट छामु दांतरु गोटे माने महापरिनिर्वाण पर जो दाह संस्कार है से दांतरु गोटे सी आणिकी से कलिंगर राजा ब्रह्मदत्त कलिंगर राजा ब्रह्मदत्त थिले दंतपुर हूँ कलिंगर राजधानी सेटा थिला जाजपुर रे ब्रह्मदत्त को से दांतटी देले ब्रह्मदत्त आगुरी बौद्ध होते कि नाई आपा विषय किसी प्रमाण ना किंतु ब्रह्मदत्त को से जो दांतटी आणिकी खेम देले एटा 500 BC ब्रह्मदत्त तुरंत गोटे मनोरम चैत्य तैयारी करी दंतपुर ताकू रखिले तार बहुत चमत्कारी गुण थिला एवं से ही दांत दंतपुर माने जाजपुर प्राय 400 ख्रीष्टाब्द 400 प्रथम आर्ली पार्ट 310 ना कौन से पर्यंत गुह शिव जो रजा थे से पर्यंत से ही थिला एवं एते आपण ताकू नबाकू हरण चाल करने को एते बाह्य प्रेसर है गुह शिव जो रजा थिले सी आ संभाली पारे तेणु सी ताकू झील ज्वाई हाथ में देकर से दंतटी सी पठेदेले दंत धातु को सिंहल सिंहल ये धरिकी गला बेलू सिंहल जो रजा सागर सी कथबार्ता होते सी मरी सारे जहाँ हूँ सिंहल एपर्यंत आप कांडी जो दंत धातु अच्छी सी यू जाजपुर तेणु आप 400 ख्रीष्टाब्द ब्रह्मदत्त समय सी भी आपण माने राज सपोर्ट पाइकरी ही बौद्ध धर्म थिला तेणु से समय निश्चित व्यापक होती से समयटार आपण आमर जाजपुर अंचल द्वितीय तृतीय शताब्दी ही जो बौद्ध कीर्ति सबू अच्छी ता डेभलप होती से गुड़ाक से समय भी किसी तेणु ब्रह्मदत्त पर आपण बौद्ध धर्म गुह शिव पर आपण गुह शिव बुद्ध दंत पलैला पर लक्ष्मी छड़ा होगला दंतपुर तापर आपण अशोक से बेलू आक्रमण करी से नहीं सारे तोशाड़ी राजधानी कला दंतपुर कलिंग राजधानी रही जाजपुर तोशाड़ी रहा माने ये आमर धौड़ी शिशुपालगढ़ अंचल रहा आपण ये व्यापक है ये तोशाड़ी सेंटर रहीकि तोशाड़ीटा था मेन सेंटर बहुत अशोकंकर तेणु केबे हेले बौद्ध धर्म सपोर्ट पाई राजकीय सपोर्ट प्रथम बुद्ध पर ही ओडिशा रे पाई ब्रह्मदत्त अशोक पर्यंत अशोक तो राजधर्म करदे व्यापक है आपण आम किंतु आउ गोटे कथा जाना पड़ो आप बौद्ध धर्मटा आम कहे गोटे धर्म बौद्ध धर्मटा 3टा धर्म आप लिविंग जो बौद्ध धर्म अच्छी पृथ्वी रे ये 3टा धर्म कार सांगे किसी संपर्क ना केवल बुद्ध नाटा कमन ना जोटा को आम 3टा कहते कौन ना थेरवाद जोटा हीनजान महाजान आ वज्रजान ये 3टा हूँ लिविंग धर्म पृथ्वी रे ये 3टा एकर 60 कोटी होती फॉलोअर एथुर महाजान केवल 40 कोटी हीनजान 10 कोटी आ वज्रजान 10 कोटी आपण ये जो 3टा एक धर्म का सांगे कार किसी संपर्क ना केवल बौद्ध धर्म बोली आम जो बुद्ध नाटा कमन ना कि कमन ना धर्म ग्रंथ रिचुआल दर्शन सबू आपण संपूर्ण भाव में भिन्न ये 3टा एकरे ये 3टा जाकरू आपण हीनजानटा हूँ से बुद्धंकर ओरिजिनाल फॉलोअर जो मैंने थेरवादी आ महाजानटा आपण महाजान आ हीनजान मात्र 10 कोटी फॉलोअर पृथ्वी रे आम देश तो मात्र कोटिए बौद्ध कोटिए पुणी 3टा जाक संप्रदाय एथुरु अरुणाचल ठू लेह पर्यंत एंटायर हिमालयन रिजनटा हूँ आज्ञा वज्रजान तापर आपण जो आम्बेडकर गोष्ठी जोटा महाराष्ट्र अंचल बेसी बौद्ध धर्मटा व्यापी थेरवादी सेटा तो एबेर नुआर आपण आमर प्रभावशाली भारत रे जो जीवंत बौद्ध धर्म भितर बेसी होउची वज्रजान जोटा कि अरुणाचल ठू लेह पर्यंत धरिक एंटायर सिक्किम भूटान दार्जिलिंग नेपाल अंचल को लेकिन यहाँ हूँ वज्रजान तार होती 10 कोटी फॉलोअर जो से माने 3टा आगु हीनजान आपण बुद्धंकर ओरिजिनाल शिक्षा को जो मैंने फॉलो कले से थेरवादी कहुँ सी तो अशोक बेलू को आप 320 बेलू को बौद्ध धर्मटा 18 भाग हो सारे 18 भाग 11 आउ 7 डिविजन हो तेणु बौद्ध धर्म रे बहु गोष्ठी जहाँ यही जो 3टा एवं हूँ ही लिविंग बुद्धिज्म रे 3टा हूँ मेजर गोष्ठी थेरवादी श्रीलंका श्रीलंका आदि आउ महाजानी एंटायर साउथ ईस्ट एशियाटा पूरा होती महाजानी आ वज्रजानी होती तिब्बतान रिजन ମାନେ ତିବ୍ବତ ମଙ୍ଗୋଲିଆ ମାଞ୍ଚୁରିଆ ଚୀନର ରଷିଆର ସାଇବେରିଆ ଅଞ୍ଚଳ ବାକି ଆମର ଲଦାଖଠୁ ଧରିକିରି ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଏସିଆର କିଛି ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ 10 କୋଟି ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ତିନିଟା ଧର୍ମରୁ ଦୁଇଟା ଧର୍ମ ଯାହାର ହେଉଛନ୍ତି 50 କୋଟି ଫଲୋଅର ମହାଯାନର 40 କୋଟି ବଜ୍ରଯାନର 10 କୋଟି ଏଇ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ ଧର୍ମ ଆପଣ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ହିଁ ଜନ୍ମ ମହାଯାନର ବି ଉଦ୍ଭବ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ଏବଂ ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ହିଁ ଉଦ୍ଭବ ଆଜ୍ଞା ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ହେଉଛି ଆଗ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନ ହେଲା ଏ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନ ହେଉଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀର ମୁଖ୍ୟ ନାଁ এই তন্ত্রযানରୁ ତିନିଟା ତାନ୍ତ୍ରିକ ଯାନ ସେତିକି ବେଳେ ହେଲା ଆପଣ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ସମ୍ଭଳ ରଜା ଯିଏ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କ ବାପା ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ସିଏ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ପ୍ରବର୍ତ୍ତନ କଲେ ତା ନାଁ ହେଉଛି ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ପ୍ରଥମ ହେଟା ତାନ୍ତ୍ରିକ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ପ୍ରଥମ ହେଟା ମାନେ ପ୍ରଥମ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଏଇ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରେ ସିଷ୍ଟମାଟିକାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଭେହିକିଲ୍ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମ୍ର ଭାବରେ ପ୍ରବର୍ତ୍ତନ ହେଲା ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ କିନ୍ତୁ ସିଏ ଆପଣ ତୃତୀୟ ଚତୁର୍ଥ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରୁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମର ତନ୍ତ୍ର ପ୍ରବେଶ କରିସାରିଲାଣି ଅସଙ୍ଗ ବସୁବନ୍ଧୁ ଦୁଇ ଭାଇ ସିଏ ଏଇ ଦୁଇ ଭାଇ କିଏ କହୁଛି ପେଶୁଆରର କିନ୍ତୁ ସତ୍ୟନାରାୟଣ ରାଜଗୁରୁ ପ୍ରମାଣ କରିସାରିଛନ୍ତି ଦୁଇ ଭାଇ ଯାକ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ପୁରୀର ଅସଙ୍ଗ ପ୍ରଥମ କରି ଚତୁର୍ଥ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଗୁହ୍ୟ ସମାଜ ତନ୍ତ୍ର ବୋଲି ଗୋଟେ ଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମର ତନ୍ତ୍ର ଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ସିଏ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କଲେ ସେଇଟା ଆପଣ ଗୁହ୍ୟ ଭାବରେ ମାନେ କିଛି ଗୁରୁ ଆଉ ଅଳ୍ପ କିଛି ଶିଷ୍ୟଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକରି ଗ୍ରୁପ ହେଇକରି ଲୁଚାଚୋରାରେ ପବ୍ଲିକଲି ନୁହେଁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ଭିତରେ ତନ୍ତ୍ର ପ୍ରବେଶ କରିସାରିଥିଲେ ପ୍ରବେଶ କଲାଣି ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ପ୍ରଥମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରୁ ମଞ୍ଜୁଶ୍ରୀ ମୂଳକଳ୍ପ ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରଥମ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ସେ ଟିକିଏ ପ୍ରବେଶ କରିଥିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ଚତୁର୍ଥ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରୁ ଅସଙ୍ଗ ଗୁହ୍ୟ ସମାଜ ତନ୍ତ୍ର ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କଲେ ତା ଫଳରେ ସେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ବ୍ୟାପି ଯାଇଥିଲା ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ କି ତାକୁ ଆପଣ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ସମ୍ଭଳ ରଜା ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ବାପା ଯିଏ ଅବିଭକ୍ତ ସମ୍ବଲପୁର ଯେଉଁଟା ତାକୁ ସିଏ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କଲେ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ତା ନାଁ ହେଲା ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ତାପରେ ପରେ ଆପଣ ସେଇଟା ତିନିଟା ଯାନ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନଟା ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ତ ଆମର ଏଠି ନାହିଁ ଆପଣ ଯେଉଁ କହିଲି ମୁଁ ଜୀବନ୍ତ ହେଉଛି କେବଳ ହିମାଳୟାନ ରିଜିନ୍ରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସହଜ ଯାନ ତାଙ୍କ ଭଉଣୀ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ମୀଙ୍କର ସିଏ ବି ସେଇ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ସିଏ ତାର ଆଉ ଟିକେ ରିଫର୍ମଡ ଯେଉଁଥିରେ ଆପଣ ପିଣ୍ଡ ବ୍ରହ୍ମାଣ୍ଡବାଦ ହେଉଛି ତାଙ୍କର ମୂଳ ଆମର ପଞ୍ଚସଖା ଧର୍ମ ହଉ ଆପଣ ମହିମା ଧର୍ମ ହଉ ଯିଏ ପଛରେ ପିଣ୍ଡ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥଙ୍କର ମଧ୍ୟ ପିଣ୍ଡ ବ୍ରହ୍ମାଣ୍ଡବାଦଟା ଆସିଲା ଆପଣ ସହଜ ଯାନରୁ ସେ ସହଜ ଯାନଟା ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଲକ୍ଷ୍ମୀଙ୍କରାଙ୍କର ତାପରେ ଦଶମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣ ପିତ୍ତପାଦ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ପିତ୍ତପାଦ ରତ୍ନଗିରି ମହାବିହାରରୁ ସିଏ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଚଳନ କଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଯାନ କାଳଚକ୍ର ଯାନ ତେଣୁ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନଟା ଆପଣ ତିନିଟାରୁ କେବଳ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ହିଁ ବଞ୍ଚିଛି ଆର ଦୁଇଟା ଇଣ୍ଟିଗ୍ରେଟ୍ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ଆପଣ ସହଜ ଯାନଟା ଆପଣ ଯେଉଁ ସହଜିଆ ବୈଷ୍ଣବ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଧର୍ମ ହେଲା ବେଙ୍ଗଲରେ ସେ ସହଜିଆ ବୈଷ୍ଣବ ମାଧ୍ୟମ ହେଇକିରି ସହଜ ଯାନଟା ପୁରା ହିନ୍ଦୁ ଧର୍ମରେ ମିଶିଗଲା ଆଉ ଆପଣ କାଳଚକ୍ର ଯାନଟା ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଏଇ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଇଣ୍ଟିଗ୍ରେଟ୍ ହେଇଛି ଟିକେ ତିବ୍ବତାନ ରିଜିନ୍ରେ ଆଉ ତ ଆପଣ ବଜ୍ରଯାନଟା ହିଁ ରହିଲା ବଜ୍ରଯାନଟାର ବି ଯେଉଁ ଅରିଜିନାଲ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ସେଟା ବି ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ତାର ପଲ୍ୟୁସନ୍ ହେଇଛି ଏଥିରେ କରପ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ଯେଉଁ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ଯେଉଁଟାକୁ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କଲେ ସେଟାକୁ ଲାମା ଧର୍ମ ବୋଲି କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସିଏ ସେଥିରେ ତିବ୍ବତୀୟଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁ ଆପଣ ଲୋକାଲ ଧର୍ମ ବନ ତାର କିଛି ରିଚୁଆଲ୍ସ ସିଏ ଭର୍ତ୍ତି କଲେ ଯେମିତି ତାଙ୍କର ଆକ୍ସେପ୍ଟେବୁଲ୍ ହେବ ତିବ୍ବତାନମାନଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁଟାକି ଫେଲ ମାରିଲେ ଶାନ୍ତରିକ୍ଷତା ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଆପଣ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାନ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଆପଣ ମହାଯାନ ଆଉ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ 50 କୋଟି ଫଲୋଅର ଏଇ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ହିଁ ତାର ଉଦ୍ଭବ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ
ତେଣୁ ଆପଣ କହିଲେ ଯେ ସମ୍ବଲପୁରର ଯେଉଁ ରାଜା ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କ ଭଉଣୀ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ମୀକେରା ତେଣୁ ସମ୍ବଲପୁରରୁ ଆପଣ ତାଙ୍କର କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତିଙ୍କର ପୁଅ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ସେ ତିବ୍ବତରେ କେମିତି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲେ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ ଟିକେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଏବଂ ତିବ୍ବତର ଧାର୍ମିକ ଅବସ୍ଥା କ'ଣ ଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ କିପରି ଅନେକ ତ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସ୍ୱାତ ଭାଲି କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ସମ୍ବଲପୁରର ରାଜାଙ୍କର ପୁଅ ଏବଂ ସେ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିକରି ଆରମ୍ଭ କଲେ ଲାମାଇଜମ୍ ବା ଯେଉଁ ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଗୋଟିଏ ସଂସ୍କରଣ से केमिति जो संबलपुर तिब्बत पर्यंत यात्रा वज्रयान विषय टे कहतु।
आपण संबलपुर जो अविभक्त संबलपुर तार जो रजा संभल है प्राचीन संभल ता रजा होती जो इंद्रभूति कहली मुझे आपको से वज्रयान प्रवर्तन कले तांको गुरु होती अनंग वज्र इंद्रभूति अनंग वज्र बहुत साहाय्य कर मिसिकी ही एटा को प्रकृत में करे से वज्रयान ताकर किसी छुआ गोटे पुओटे थिला मरी जाइଥିଲା इंद्रभूतिଙ୍କର तेणु आपण सी दिने मंत्री तांकर खबर देले रजा को आसिकी जे एमती राजबाटी पाखे एबे भी अच्छी आपण धनकौड़ा जोटा कहते संबलपुर आउटस्कर्ट रे एटा हूँ धनकोश गोटे लेकटा अच्छी है पाखे एबे भी अच्छी से लेक जाइनी कुआड़े से गोटे 8 वर्षर बालक जड़े सी आप कहते सबू धर्म रे बहुत अलौकिकता कथा कहुए आपको कहते सी गोटे पद्म फुटंता पद्म फूल उपर ह्रद भितर बसी किए गोटे 8 वर्षर पिलाटीए 8 वर्षर पिलाटे ता देहरे बहुत माने भल शुभ लक्षण सब मंत्री देखिक रजा को खबर देले रजा जाकि ग्रहण कले पुओ भाया किंतु आपण जड़े ह्रद भितर बसी तो पद्म फूल पर मंत्री देखिले केमिति शुभ लक्षण पाखे अच्छी सी आपण एगुड़ाक धार्मिक जिनिस सब सी है घर छाड़ी 8 वर्षर पिलाटी पलि आसी सी आसिक से ह्रद कूला पोखरी कूल सी बुलूँ ये देखिले मंत्री देखिले बहुत शुभ लक्षण पाखे तेणु रजा जो पुणी रजा को खबर देले रजा गले रजा जाकि महासमारोह आणिक निज पुओ बोली डिक्लेयर करके पोष्यपुत्र कले कहीं निज पुओ चली जाइला आउ सी रहिले राजप्रसाद शिक्षा व्यवस्था कले शिक्षा व्यवस्था करने भितर आपण युवराज बोली भी डिक्लेयर करदे जो होता आगुरी रजा हवा पूर्व डिक्लेयर हुए युवराज युवराज डिक्लेयर करदे रजा तापर सी 16 वर्ष जिते होता हेतिकी बेले पुणी देखिले जो शुभ लक्षण सब मंत्री आगुरी देखी देहरे रजा मार्क कले एगुड़ा सब सन्यासी हबार लक्षण है शुभ लक्षण सब तेणु काले पुणी बाबाजी हो पुओ रजा ताको बाहागर करदे 16 वर्ष नुहे 16 आपण ये पुणी 8 तांकु जो दिन तांकु पाइले आविष्कार कले हेईटा को गणा होउची तांको जन्मदिन बोले हेतळकु तो तांको 8 वर्ष ही सारथिला अच्छा तांकु बाहागर कले बाहागर पर 5 वर्ष सी पुणी रहिले राजबाटी से 5 वर्ष पर गोटे एक्सीडेंट हले से जाइथिले आउटस्कर्ट को राजधानी बाहर को ताकर गोटे टेका किंबा किसी जिनिस गोटे से जो अंचल को जाइथिले ताकर जे हेड तांकर पुओटी मरीगला फल से चार्जटा आसला आंक उपर एवं रजा बहुत लोक विप्लव कले रजा पाखे दाबी कले को फाँसी दंड दिहब रजा मन पुणी इंद्रभूति पाखक आसला विचार सी भाविले इंद्रभूति कहले सी मो जन्म कला छुआ नुह मुझे समस्त जाच पाई तेणु मुझे मृत्युदंड दे पारि निर्वासन दंड देले निर्वासन दंड देवु सी घर छाड़िकी बाहा तो होते राणी पिलाटी छाड़िकी संभल सी पलि आसिले घर छाड़िकी सी कुआड़े आसिले सी प्रथम आसिले जाजपुर को बिरजा पाखक आप बुद्ध जमी बोधि प्राप्ति होता बोध गयारे ये सेमती सिद्धि प्राप्ति आंकर लाभ है बिरजा पाखे आपण यार पूरा रेकर्ड रही रिटिन रेकर्ड नेपाल इनस्क्रिप्शन 11 एडीर सी बिरजा पाखे बोधि प्राप्त है बोधि प्राप्त होते आपण ये तो 8म शताब्दी कथा सेत बेलू आप रत्नगिरी विश्वविद्यालय पृथ्वी प्रसिद्ध हो साराणी जोग आ तंत्र शिक्षा पिंगा सी तेणु जा रत्नगिरी किसी दिन विद्या शिक्षा कले जोग आ तंत्र पद्म संभव तापर सेठू सी छाड़िकी पलैले सारा भारत रे बहुत विभिन्न स्थान बुलिक बड़ बड़ गुरु मान विभिन्न शिक्षा विद्या विभिन्न प्रकार बहु प्रकार विद्यार से पारंगम हो गले सबुआड़ू बुलाबुली करी से नालंदार आसिक पहुँचले ଏବଂ ନାଳନ୍ଦାରେ ଅଧ୍ୟାପନା କଲେ। ଆପଣ ସେଇ ଭିତରେ ଅଧ୍ୟାପନା କରିବା ଭିତରେ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରୁ ହିଁ ଏଣ୍ଟର କରିସାରିଥିଲା। ଇଏ ତ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ କଥା। ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରୁ ଏଣ୍ଟର କରିସାରିଥିଲା କେମିତି ନା ନେପାଳ ଆଉ ଚୀନର ଯେଉଁ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ରାଜକୁମାରୀକି ତିବ୍ବତ ରଜା ବାହା ହେଇଥିଲେ ଯିଏ ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ, ସେଇ ଦୁଇଟି ଯାକ ରାଣୀ ଷ୍ଟଞ୍ଚ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ସେମାନେ। ତେଣୁ ସିଏ ରଜାଙ୍କୁ ପ୍ରବର୍ତ୍ତେଇକିରି ସିଏ କୁଆଡ଼ୁ କାଶ୍ମୀରରୁ ଏବଂ ଅନ୍ୟ ଆଡ଼ୁ ନେଇକିରି ଆପଣ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଗୁରୁ ସେଠି ମାନେ ପ୍ରବେଶ କରେଇ ସାରିଥିଲେ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜୀବୀକି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇଟା ସଷ୍ଟେନ୍ କଲାନି, ଏଠି ରହିପାରିଲାନି, ଏଇଟା ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ତ ସ୍ଥାୟୀ ହେଇପାରିଲାନି। ତେଣୁ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଯିଏ ରଜା ହେଲେ ସିଏ ଆପଣ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ସିଏ ଦେଖିଲେ ଆପଣ ତିବ୍ବତଟା ଯେମିତି ଗୁଣି ଟୁଣି ସବୁ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ ନେଚରର ଲୋକ, ସିଏ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ ଯଦି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମକୁ ସଂଗଠିତ ଭାବରେ ଏଠି ପ୍ରବେଶ କରା ନଯାଏ ତିବ୍ବତରେ, ତେବେ ଆମ ଲୋକ ସଭ୍ୟ ହେଇପାରିବେନି। ତେଣୁ ସିଏ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ଲାନ୍ ୱେରେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମକୁ କେମିତି ବ୍ୟାପକ କରିବେ ବହୁତ କନସଲଟେସନ୍ କଲେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ। ସମସ୍ତେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଶାନ୍ତ ରଖିତ, ସିଏ ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ଥିଲେ, ସିଏ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ମହାଯାନର ମାଧ୍ୟମିକ ବ୍ରାଞ୍ଚର ଶିକ୍ଷକ, ସିଏ ନାଳନ୍ଦାରେ ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ଥିଲେ ସେତେବେଳକୁ। ତାଙ୍କୁ ନିମନ୍ତ୍ରଣ କରିକି ନେବାକୁ ରଜାଙ୍କୁ ପରାମର୍ଶ ଦେଲେ, ଆଉ ରଜା ତାଙ୍କୁ ନେଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଡକେଇକିରି। ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଶାନ୍ତ ରଖିତ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଆପଣ, ସେ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ମହାଯାନର ମାଧ୍ୟମିକ ବ୍ରାଞ୍ଚଟା, ତାଙ୍କର ଦର୍ଶନ ହେଉଛି ଶୂନ୍ୟବାଦ। ଶୂନ୍ୟବାଦଟା ଗୋଟେ ନିହିଲିଷ୍ଟିକ୍ ଧର୍ମ। ସେଇଟା ଆପଣ ଜମାରୁ ଏଇ ଧର୍ମକୁ ଯେଉଁ ପ୍ରଚାର କଲେ, ସିଏ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମର ଆପଣ ସବୁ ମୂଳ ନୀତିକାନ୍ତି ଆପଣ ହେଇ ଶୂନ୍ୟବାଦ ଏଗୁଡ଼ାକ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ସବୁ ଆଦିବାସୀ ନେଚରର ଲୋକ, ସେମାନେ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଗ୍ରହଣ କଲେନି। ଆଙ୍କ ଦୁର୍ଯୋଗକୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ପ୍ରକାରର ସବୁ ପ୍ରାକୃତିକ ଦୁର୍ବିପାକ ଘଟିଲା ତିବ୍ବତରେ ଏମିତି ହେଲା ଯେ ଆପଣ ଆଉ ଲୋକ ମାନେ ବିପ୍ଳବ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହୋଇଗଲା ଆଙ୍କ ବିରୁଦ୍ଧରେ, ଯେ ରଜା କୁଆଡ଼ୁ ଗୋଟେ ନୂଆ ଧର୍ମଟା ଆଣିକି ଯେହେତୁ ପ୍ରବେଶ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଆମ ଦେଶକୁ ଏମିତି ବିପଦ ପଡ଼ୁଛି। ତେଣୁ ଇଏ ଦେଖିଲେ ଆଉ ସମ୍ଭାଳି ହେବନି, ରଜା ତାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ପରାମର୍ଶ କଲେ ଶାନ୍ତରକ୍ଷିତଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ। ସିଏ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ଯାକ ଠିକ୍ କଲେ, ରଜାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ ତମେ ଡାକ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କୁ ନାଳନ୍ଦ, ସିଏ ହିଁ ଏଇ ଅବସ୍ଥା ସମ୍ଭାଳିକିରି ଏଇ କାମ କରିପାରିବେ ଏଠି। ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ଯାକ ପରାମର୍ଶରେ ଠିକ୍ ହେଲା, ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ଆସିବା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଇଏ ଛାଡ଼ିବେନି ଦେଶ, କିନ୍ତୁ ତିବ୍ବତରେ ରହିବେନି, ନେପାଳ ପଳେଇବେ। ତେଣୁ ଶାନ୍ତରକ୍ଷିତ ନେପାଳ ପଳେଇଲେ, ରଜା ତୁରନ୍ତ ତିବ୍ବତକୁ ନାଳନ୍ଦକୁ ଲୋକ ପଠେଇକିରି ତାଙ୍କୁ ନେଲେ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କୁ ଡକେଇକି। ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଆପଣ 746 ଖ୍ରୀଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଦର କଥା। ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ଚାରିଆଡ଼େ ବୁଲି ଇଏ ଯେଉଁ ଗଲାବେଳେ ହିଁ ଆଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ କରିକି ଗଲେ ଶାନ୍ତରକ୍ଷିତଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ବାଟରେ ନେପାଳରେ। ସେ ନେପାଳରେ କିଛି ଦିନ ରହିଲେ, କରିକି ଗଲେ ଯେ ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ସମସ୍ୟା କ'ଣ ସେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ। ଇଏ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ସିଏ ମାଧ୍ୟମିକ ଶୂନ୍ୟବାଦର, କିନ୍ତୁ ଇଏ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଇଏ ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନ ବାଲା। ତେଣୁ ଇଏ ଆପଣ ଆଗ ତାଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁ ବନ ଧର୍ମ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ବେଶୀ ବିରୋଧ କରୁଥିଲେ, ତାଙ୍କର ସବୁ ନେତୃସ୍ଥାନୀୟ ଗୁରୁମାନଙ୍କୁ ଧାର୍ମିକ ଲିଡରମାନଙ୍କୁ ସବୁ ମିଟିଂ କରିକିରି ସିଏ ଦେଖିଲେ ପ୍ରକୃତ ସମସ୍ୟାଟା ହେଉଛି ସେଇ ଫିଚୁଆଲ ବିଷୟରେ, ଯେଉଁଟାକି ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ଆକର୍ଷିତ କରିପାରୁନି। ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କ ପରାମର୍ଶରେ ସିଏ ସେଇ ବନ ଧର୍ମର ଯେଉଁ ଧର୍ମଗୁରୁ, ତାଙ୍କ ପରାମର୍ଶରେ ସେ କ'ଣ କଲେ ନା ଆପଣ ବଜ୍ରଯାନରେ ତାଙ୍କର ଫିଚୁଆଲ କିଛି ମିଶେଇକିରି ତାକୁ ହିଁ ପ୍ରବର୍ତ୍ତନ କଲେ, ଏବଂ ତାକୁ ଭାରି ଖୁସିରେ ଲୋକ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିନେଲେ। ଏଇଟା ଆପଣ ପୁରା ବ୍ୟାପକ ଭାବରେ ସେକୁ କରିଦେଲେ, ପୁରା ତିବ୍ବତରେ ଖାଲି ନୁହଁ, ତିବ୍ବତରେ ରହିଲେ ପ୍ରାୟ 50 ବର୍ଷରୁ ଅଧିକା। 802ରେ ଫେରିଲେ, ସେଇ ଭିତରେ ଏଣ୍ଟାୟାର ହିମାଳୟାନ ରିଜିନ୍ରେ ବୁଲିକିରି ଚାରିଆଡ଼େ ନେପାଳ, ମାନେ ଭୁଟାନ, ସିକିମ, ଅରୁଣାଚଳ, ଲଦାଖ, ସେଇଠୁ ଯାଇକିରି ପୁଣି ସେଠିକି ତିବ୍ବତ ପଳେଇଛନ୍ତି କରିକି ପୁରା ସବୁଆଡ଼େ ଆପଣ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ପ୍ରଚାର କରିକି ପ୍ରତିଷ୍ଠିତ ଧର୍ମ ଗୋଟେ କରେଇଦେଲେ। ଆପଣ ସମୟ ଯେଉଁ ଜାଗାରେ ପ୍ରଥମ ବିରାଟ ଆମର ମଗଧର ଉଦନ୍ତପୁରୀ ମହାବିହାର ଶୈଳୀରେ ପ୍ରଥମକରି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ବିହାର ପ୍ରତିଷ୍ଠା କଲେ ସେଠି ସମୟରେ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ। ପୁଣି ଆପଣ ସମୟ ହେଇଯିବା ପରେ ସେ ଶାନ୍ତ ରକ୍ଷିତଙ୍କୁ ଡକେଇକି ନେଇଗଲେ ନେପାଳରୁ ରଜା ନେଇକି ଶାନ୍ତ ରକ୍ଷିତ ସେଇ ସମୟ ମହାବିହାରର ହେଡ୍ ହୋଇକି ରହିଲେ ସେଠି। ଶାନ୍ତ ରକ୍ଷିତ ବି ସେଇଠି ମରିଗଲେ, ସେଇଠି ଗୋଟେ ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟରେ, ଘୋଡ଼ା ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟରେ ସିଏ ଆଉ ଫେରି ନାହାନ୍ତି। ଶାନ୍ତ ରକ୍ଷିତ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଆଙ୍କର ଶଳା ଆପଣ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କର। ନାଇଁ ନା କେଉଁଝର ନାହିଁ, ସିଏ ଆପଣ ବିକ୍ରମଣୀପୁର, ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଭାଗଲପୁର ପାଖରେ ଗଙ୍ଗା କୂଳରେ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଆପଣ ବୃତ୍ତିରେ ଗବେଷକ ନୁହନ୍ତି, ଆପଣ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଲେବର ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନରେ ଥିଲେ। ଆପଣ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଗବେଷଣା ପ୍ରତି ଆକର୍ଷିତ କେମିତି ହେଲେ? ଜୀବନରେ କ'ଣ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଏଥିପ୍ରତି ଆକର୍ଷଣ କେଉଁଠୁ
ମୋର
ଆସିଲା?
ଆକର୍ଷଣ ମୋର ହେଲା, ମୁଁ ଯେଉଁ କାମ କରୁଥିଲି, ମୁଁ ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ମୁଁ ଦୁଇଟି ଏଜେନ୍ସିର କାମ କରୁଥିଲି ସାଇମଲ୍ଟେନିୟସଲି। ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି ମୋ ପ୍ରଥମ କାମ କରୁଥିଲି ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ୟୁକେ ଏଜେନ୍ସିରେ ITDGର।
ନିଜ ବିଷୟ ଟିକେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଯେଉଁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା, ସେ ITDG ହେଉଛି ସଂସ୍ଥା ୟୁକେର, ତାର ଅଫିସ୍ ହେଉଛି ସାଉଥ୍ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଏସିଆର ଆପଣ କଲମ୍ବୋରେ। ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଆପଣ ତାଙ୍କର ହିଁ କାମ କରୁଥିଲି ଏବଂ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରତି ମାସରେ କଲମ୍ବୋ ଯାଏ। ଆଗ ଗୋଟେ ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଆପଣ ସେ ଯାହାର ମୁଁ କାମ କରୁଥିଲି ୟୁକେ ଏଜେନ୍ସି, ତାଙ୍କର ୱାନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଦି ଫାଉଣ୍ଡର୍ସ, ସିଏ ଆପଣ ଥିଲେ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟର ନେଦରଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡସ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସପୋର୍ଟ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ର। ସିଏ ILO ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକକୁ ରିଜନାଲ ଅଫିସ୍ କି ତାଙ୍କୁ ILO ହାୟାର କରିକି ଆଣିଲା। ସିଏ ମୋର ଚିହ୍ନା ସେଠି ନେଦରଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡରେ ଥିଲାବେଳେ। ମୋର ଆଜ୍ଞା କାମ, ମୋର ତ ମୂଳ ହେଉଛି ମୋ ଲାଇବ୍ରେରୀ କଥା ମୁଁ ଗାଁରେ ବୁଝୁଥିଲି। ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସରକାରଙ୍କୁ ତାକୁ ଦେଇଦେଲୁ, ଦବାର ପ୍ରୋସେସ୍ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା 92ରୁ ମୁଁ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ସ୍କଲାରସିପ୍ ପାଇକି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ପଳେଇ ଆସିଲି। ମୋ ପେଟ ପୋଷିବାକୁ ମୁଁ ଯେଉଁ କାମ କଲି, ମୁଁ ସାଲେରିଡ୍ ନୁହଁ, ମୁଁ କେବେ କାହାର ଚାକିରି କରିନି। ମୁଁ କନସଲଟାନ୍ସି କରିଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ ଡ୍ରାଇ ସବଜେକ୍ଟରେ କଲି, ଯେଉଁଟାକି ରୁରାଲ ଇନଫ୍ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚର। ଆଉ ମୋ କାମ ହେଲା ସିଭିଲ୍ ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟରିଂ କାମ। ପୃଥିବୀ ଜାଗାରେ ପ୍ରାୟ 80ଟା ଦେଶରେ ମୁଁ ଆଜ୍ଞା କାମ କରିଛି। ଆଉ ସବୁଠି ସିଭିଲ୍ ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟର ମାନଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆଉ ସିଭିଲ୍ ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟରିଂ ପ୍ରଫେସର ମାନଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଏକଦମ ଡ୍ରାଏ। ମୋର ଏଇ କାମ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କିଛି ସମ୍ପର୍କ ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ମୋର ଦୁଇଟା ଅଫିସ୍ ହେଲା 99 ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ। ମୋର କଲମ୍ବୋ ଥିଲା ଅଫିସ୍, ପ୍ରତି ମାସରେ ଯାଏ ମୁଁ। 99 ପରଠୁ ILOର ରିଜନାଲ ଅଫିସ୍ ହେଉଛି ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକ୍, ମୁଁ ପ୍ରତି ମାସରେ ଯାଏ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକ୍। ଆଉ ମୁଁ ଯେଉଁ କାମ କଲି, ଆପଣ ମୋ ଏଣ୍ଟାୟାର ସାଉଥ୍ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଏସିଆର ସବୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିରେ, ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିରେ ମୁଁ ଦୀର୍ଘ ଦିନ ଧରିକି କାମ କରିଛି। ତେଣୁ ଯଦି ଆପଣ ବାରମ୍ବାର ବୁଲିବାକୁ ହେଇ ଦେଶକୁ ଯିବେ ହିଁ ଆପଣ ଅନୁପ୍ରାଣିତ ହୋଇଯିବ ଅଟୋମେଟିକ୍। ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମର ଏତେ ବ୍ୟାପକ ତାଙ୍କର ହେରିଟେଜ୍ ଯେ ସେଇ ଦେଶମାନଙ୍କରେ। ଆଉ ମୁଁ କଲମ୍ବୋ, ମୁଁ ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କା, ପୁରା ପୁରା ଦେଶଟା ସାରା ବୁଲିଛି। ଆଉ ଏଗୁଡ଼ାକ ତ କାମ କରିଛି। ଆପଣ ସବୁ ଗଲେ, ସବୁ ଶନିବାର ରବିବାର ମୁଁ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକରେ ରହିଲେ ଛୁଟି ହେଇଯିବ ୟୁଏନ୍ ଅଫିସ୍, ମୁଁ ବୁଲିବି ଆପଣ ଯେତେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ କୀର୍ତ୍ତି ସବୁ ଅଛି। ଆପଣ ଏହି ଅଞ୍ଚଳକୁ ଗଲେ ହିଁ ମୋର ସେଦିନୁ ହେଲା ଯେ ମୋ କାମ ସରିଲେ ମୁଁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜୀବୀ ଉପରେ କାମ କରିବି। ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ଉପରେ କରିବି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନଥିଲି, କିନ୍ତୁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜୀବୀ ଉପରେ ମୁଁ କରିବି।
ସେଇଠୁ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ଟିକେ ଆସିଲେ
ତିବ୍ବତ ଆଜ୍ଞା ମୁଁ ଯାଇନି, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଚାଇନା ଯାଇଛି। ତିବ୍ବତ ଯାଇନି, ମୁଁ ଚାଇନା ସାଉଥ୍ ଚାଇନାରେ କୁନ୍ମିଂ ଅଞ୍ଚଳରେ ମୁଁ ରହିଛି ଦୀର୍ଘ ଦିନ। ଆଉ ସେଠି ବି ଆପଣ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ, ଆପଣ ସାଉଥ୍ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଏସିଆରେ ବି ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଅଛି। ଇଣ୍ଡୋନେସିଆରେ ତ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କ ମନ୍ଦିର ଅଛି। ଆପଣ ମହାଯାନ ଡମିନାଣ୍ଟ, କିନ୍ତୁ ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଉପସ୍ଥିତି ଅଛି ସାଉଥ୍ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଏସିଆରେ ସବୁଠି। ଆଉ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ ମୁଁ ବେଶୀ ତଥ୍ୟ ସଂଗ୍ରହ କରୁଛି ସେଇଠି ବୁଲିଲା ବେଳେ, ସେଇ ଦେଶମାନଙ୍କରେ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ଉପରେ ବେଶୀ ତଥ୍ୟ ନାହିଁ, କିଛି ତଥ୍ୟ। ଆଉ ମୁଁ ଯେଉଁଠୁ ପାଇଲି ସବୁ ବହୁତ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ବହି ସବୁ ବାହାରୁ ସଂଗ୍ରହ କରିକି ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ପଢ଼ିବାକୁ ବେଳ ନଥାଏ, ମୁଁ ଆଜ୍ଞା ଘରକୁ ଆସେ, ରଖିଦେଇକି ପୁଣି 2 ଦିନ ପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଶକୁ ପଳେଇ। ଆଉ ପଢ଼ାପଢ଼ି କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ମୁଁ ଗଦେଇ ଥାଏ। ମୁଁ କହିଲି ମୋ କାମ ସରିଲେ ୟା ପରେ ଯାଇକରି କାମ କରିବି। ମୁଁ 2010ରେ ଭଲଣ୍ଟାରୀଲି ଛାଡ଼ିଲି, ମୋର ଆହୁରି 10 ବର୍ଷ ଥିଲା ମୁଁ କାମ କରିବି ବୋଲି। ମୁଁ କହିଲି ମୁଁ ପଢ଼ିବି ଲେଖିବି। ମୋତେ ପଚାରିଲେ ILOରେ କାହିଁକି ଏଇଠି ଛାଡ଼ିଦେବ? ମୁଁ କହିଲି ମୁଁ ଆଜ୍ଞା ପଢ଼ିବି, ମୁଁ ଘରେ ବସିକିରି, ମୁଁ ଆଉ କାମ କରିବିନି, ମୋର କିଛି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ନାହିଁ, ଆଉ ମୁଁ ପଢ଼ିବି ଖାଲି। मुझे पढ़ा को आगु सब खाली बुद्धिजीवी बही विशेष भाव में कि अन्य इंडोलोजिकाल बही मुझे आगु संग्रह कर बहुत रखी आउ 2010 मुझे कम छाड़ी मु छाड़ू छाड़ू आप विमलेन्दु महांती था महाबोधि सोसाइटी प्रेसिडेंट आमर ओडिशा सेंटर ताक सांगरे मोर आगु बहुत भल संपर्क पारिवारिक संपर्क आ सी मत 2010 तुरंत मु काम छाड़ू छाड़ू मत नहीं महाबोधि सोसाइटी आसोसीएट कले आई वर्ष मो दुर्योग कि सुजोग मुझे जानी से वर्ष मुझे कौन काम कर मैंने गोटे कम लगिगली जे आप मो जीवनटा पड़ेगा कदम कम मुझे भावुची कहीं धरली मत से वर्ष दलाई लामा आसिले दलाई लामा आसिकी आम सी कौन कहीकि गले तापर 10 मसीहा विमलेन्दु बाबू लगिले जे आम गोटे बहीटे करवा सी कहीकि गले दलाई लामा तुम बहीटे कर आग मिसिकी कर समस्ते आम एटा गोटे छोटियाटे कलु आपण सेटा तो आपण मत फसईदेला से कम छोट बही पर मुझा बार आसिले भूटान प्रधानमंत्री बही उन्मोचन है आप इनकनक्लूसिव छोटिया बहीटे 120-130 पेजर किंतु सेटा हूँ आम देशर प्रथम बही पद्म संभव उपर 12 जन आम कंट्रीब्यूट करूँ 12 जन जाक कनक्लूड करते पद्म संभव होती ओडार ସେଇଟା ପ୍ରଥମ ବହି ସେଇଟା ତ ଭୁଟାନ ସରକାର ନେଇକି ତାକୁ ତୁରନ୍ତ ତାଙ୍କ ଭାଷାରେ ଅନୁବାଦ କରିଦେଇଥିଲେ ଆହୁରି ପୁଣି ନେପାଳୀରେ ହେଇଛି ଆହୁରି କ'ଣ ହେଇଛି ଆପଣ ସେଇଟା ଏହି ବହିଟା ଛୋଟିଆଟିଏ କରିବାକୁ ସୁବିଧା ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟା ପ୍ରଥମ ବହି ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଆପଣ ଏତେ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଭର୍ସି ଅଛି ମୁଁ ବି ଜାଣିନଥିଲି ଆପଣ ସେଇ ଦଲାଇ ଲାମା ସେଇଟା କହିବା ପରେ ଆମେ ଯେଉଁ କାମ କଲୁ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ମୁଁ ମାନେ ଏଇଟା ଜଣା ପଡ଼ିଲା ଯେ ଆପଣ ସେଇଟାକୁ କିଛି ଆପଣ ଅଳ୍ପ ବିଦେଶୀ ଗବେଷକ ଆଉ ଜଣେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ଯେଉଁ ସେମାନେ ବିଶେଷ ଭାବରେ ବଙ୍ଗର ଇଭିନ୍ ଲୋକେଶ ଚନ୍ଦ୍ର ମଧ୍ୟ ଆପଣ ବଡ଼ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ଗବେଷକ ସିଏ ବି କହୁଛନ୍ତି ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି କାଞ୍ଚିର ବାହାର ଗବେଷକଙ୍କ କଥା ଛାଡ଼ନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଯିଏ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ଗବେଷକ ବିଶେଷ ଭାବରେ କିଛି ବଙ୍ଗାଳୀ ଗବେଷକ ଆଉ ଲୋକେଶ ଚନ୍ଦ୍ର ଆଉ କେହି କାମ କରିନାହାନ୍ତି ୟାପରେ ଆପଣ ସମସ୍ତେ ଭିନ୍ନ ଭିନ୍ନ ମତ किए कहते ढाकार ये लोकेश चंद्र कहते कांचीर आउ किए कहते आप बेंगलोर एमती कंट्रोवर्सी आम लोक बेसी सृष्टि कर बाहर जो 2-3 जन से कहते से स्वात भाली गांधार रहा आप कौन सी प्रकार आप देखिए मो बहीटार आप पूरा सॉलिड प्रमाण कर बहीटा आज्ञा कही सारी अशोक बल आज्ञा दीटा प्रकृत बहीटा दीटा पार्ट गोटे हूँ मुझे इक्वाली एम्फासिस दिखाई दीटा आगू जे सी आग आपण ओडिशार बोली प्रमाण करने पूर्वर गांधार सी बोली गांधार सी नुहे बोली आग खंडन करने पड़ो
एबे मो देखु
से खंडन तो सॉलिड कही सारी प्रमाण सॉलिड दिखाई उडियान हूँ ओडिशा यहाँ गोटे विराट चैप्टर हो प्राय 60 पेज 600 पेज बही आउ सी गांधार नुहे बोली आपड़ा गोटे अति माने छोट छोट कारण को लेकर से पाखे जेहेतु किसी ना पाई ना विदेशी गवेषक मैंने आपड़ कौटी टिके कौन देखिले सी ताकू हाइलाइट करके थरे गोटे प्रमाण होगला माने ये एबर नुहे आपड़ ये 100 वर्ष तलर जो विदेशी गवेषक कहते बही सब पुराणा वाडल फाडल तांका बही पुराणा सब 100 वर्ष तलर सी ये सब पुराणा गवेषणा तापर आमर कहीं काम करना सॉलिड काम तो किसी नहीं पद्म संभव इंडिया बही ही ना आमर बहीटा प्रथम यहाँ मोर कंप्लीट बही यहाँ प्रथम बही कहीं करना कहीं करना आप वंशर तो कहीं ना कि धर्मर तो ये कई फलोअर भी ना जहाँ रही सेपटे आमर संबलपुर अंचल लोक सी किए अच्छी कि कहूँ वंशर कि फैमिली मुझे आज्ञा मीटिंग रे थरे आनी डाकी बड़ आज्ञा मुझे कनक वर्धन सिंह जो थे आपको कही मुझे तुम राजवंश सी तो ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ରାଜବଂଶର ସିଏ ସପ୍ତମ ସପ୍ତଦଶ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ ବେଳର ତାଙ୍କର କାହିଁକି ଆଗ୍ରହ ହେବ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀର ସମ୍ବଳ ରଜା କିଏ ଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ ଖୋଳିବାକୁ କେହି ଆଗ୍ରହୀ ନୁହଁ ଏଇ ବିଷୟରେ ସବଜେକ୍ଟରେ। ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରଥମେ ଯେ ଆମେ ଏଡ଼େ ବଡ଼ ଗୋଟେ ସବଜେକ୍ଟକୁ ଏଇଟା ଯେଉଁମାନେ କରିବା କଥା ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମଟା ତ ନେଗ୍ଲେକ୍ଟେଡ଼ ହେଇଗଲା ଆମର ବୌଦ୍ଧ କୀର୍ତ୍ତି ଗୁଡ଼ାକ ବି ହାଇଲାଇଟ୍ ହେଲାନି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ମୋ ବହି ହେବା ପରେ ପରେ ବହି ପ୍ରକାଶ ପାଇବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଏଇଟା ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଆଜି କରାହେଇଛି। ପ୍ରକାଶ ପାଇନଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳକୁ ବହି ଛପା ହେଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଥମ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଜୁମ୍ ମିଟିଂ କରାହେଇଥିଲା ୱାର୍ଲଡ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ଆସୋସିଏସନର ସେ ଡକ୍ଟର ୱାଙ୍ଗମୋ ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର ଯିଏ ମୁଖ୍ୟ ଭାରତରେ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ କନଫେଡେରେସନ ପ୍ରଫେସର ରବୀନ୍ଦ୍ର ପନ୍ତ ଯିଏ ଭିସି ଥିଲେ ନାଳନ୍ଦା ବିଶ୍ୱବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟର କର୍ତ୍ତା ସିଏ ଗୋବିନ୍ଦ ବଲ୍ଲଭ ପନ୍ତଙ୍କ ନାତି ସିଏ ଆଉ ଏମିତି ତାଙ୍କର କେତେ ଜଣଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆମର ଏଇଠୁ ଅନିତା ଅଛି ସିଏ ମୋତେ ପ୍ରଥମ ସହଯୋଗ କରିଥିଲେ ଡକ୍ଟର ଅନିତା ସାବତ ସିଏ ତାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ମିଟିଂ କରିକି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆଗ କାହିଁକି ନା ଆପଣ ୱାଙ୍ଗମୋ ହେଉଛି ୱାର୍ଲଡ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ଆସୋସିଏସନର ହେଡ୍ ସିଏ ଆଉ ଇଏ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ କନଫେଡେରେସନ ଯେଉଁ ଅଛି ଆମର ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ସିଏ ହେଉଛି ସବୁ ସରକାରୀ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ରିଲେଟେଡ୍ ସବୁ ସିଏ ହିଁ କରୁଛି IBC କରୁଛି ଏବଂ ସେଥିରେ ଆପଣ ପୃଥିବୀ ଯାକର ଯେଉଁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଲିଡର ସବୁ ତାହାର କର୍ମକର୍ତ୍ତା ଆଉ ସମ୍ପୃକ୍ତ। ତେଣୁ ଏ ବହି ପ୍ରକାଶ ପାଇବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଥମ ଜୁମ୍ ମିଟିଂ ହେଇଥିଲା। ଯେଉଁଦିନ ବହି ବାହାରିଲା ୱାଙ୍ଗମୋ ମୋତେ ସେଇଦିନ କହିଲା ଆମେରିକାର ଯେ ଆଜି ଏକା ତୁମେ ଯାଇକି ପବ୍ଲିସର ପାଖରେ ବସିକିରି ତାକୁ ଆମାଜନରେ ଅପଲୋଡ଼ କର ମୁଁ କିଣିମି ଏଇଠି ଆଗ ପଢ଼ିବି। ତାପରେ ତୁରନ୍ତ ପନ୍ତଜୀଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀ ବହି ପଠା ଗୋଟେ ମୁଁ ପଠେଇଲି। ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି 24 ମସିହାର ଜାନୁଆରୀ ମାସର କଥା ଜାନୁଆରୀ ଫେବୃଆରୀ ବେଳର ଆପଣ ତୁରନ୍ତ ପନ୍ତଜୀ ତାକୁ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆର କଲଚର ମିନିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଯୋଗାଯୋଗ କରି ସିଏ ତୁରନ୍ତ ଅଗଷ୍ଟ ମାସରେ ଗୋଟେ 2 ଦିନିଆ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ କନଫରେନ୍ସ ଗୋଟେ ନାଳନ୍ଦା ବିଶ୍ୱବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟରେ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜ କଲେ କଲଚର ମିନିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ନାଳନ୍ଦା ବିଶ୍ୱବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟ ଆଉ କିଏ IBC ମିଶିକିରି ଆପଣ ପ୍ରାୟ 150 ହେବ ଯେଉଁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଗୁରୁ ବିଶେଷ ଭାବରେ ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ପୃଥିବୀଜା ଗୁରୁ ସିଏ ଡାକିଥିଲେ ସେଇଠି। ଆପଣ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟର ସେଇଠି ହେଇଥିଲି। ମୋ ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ଥିଲା ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ବାର୍ଥ ପ୍ଲେସ୍ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ନେଇଛି ଓଡ଼ିଶା। ମୋ ପ୍ରଥମ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ୍ ମୋର ଥିଲା। ମୁଁ ଏଇଠି ଆମେ କଥା ହେଲୁ ପ୍ରାୟ ସବୁ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଗୁରୁମାନଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଯେଉଁ ଆସିଥିଲେ ସମସ୍ତେ କହିଲେ ଦେଖ ଆମ ପାଖରେ କିଛି ପ୍ରମାଣ ନାହିଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛୁ ଯେ ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ଆମକୁ ଦଲାଇ ଲାମା କହିଛନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ଗୋଟେ ଏତେ ବଡ଼ ଜିନିଷ ଦଲାଇ ଲାମା ବି କହୁଛନ୍ତି କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଠିକ୍ ଭାବରେ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ କରିପାରିନଥିଲେ। ଆପଣ ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରଥମ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟି। ତାପରେ ଆପଣ ଏ ଭିତରେ ବହୁତ IBC କରାଣି ଆପଣ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ଏସିଆନ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ସମିଟି ହେଇଥିଲା ଆମେ ଯାଇଥିଲୁ ସବୁ। ଆହୁରି ଏବେ ହେଇଥିଲା ଏବେ ନଭେମ୍ବରରେ ଏଇ ଅଗଷ୍ଟରେ
ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ
ହେଇଥିଲା।
ଯଦି ଆମର ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଏଠି ଉପସ୍ଥିତ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ଯଦି କିଛି ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହିଁବେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆପଣ ଦାଠା ଧାତୁ ବଂଶ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ଅଛି ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କାନ ବହି। ଏଇ ଆଫେୟାରଟାର ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ତା ବହିଟା ନାଁ ହେଉଛି ଦାଠା ଧାତୁ ବଂଶ। ଦାଠ ମାନେ ଦନ୍ତ ଧାତୁ ବଂଶ ତାର ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କାନ ବହି। ସେ ବହି ମୋ ପାଖରେ ଅଛି ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଥିରେ ପୁରା କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି। ଆପଣ କେମିତି ଝାମେଲା କଲେ ଆପଣ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଆମ ମଗଧ ଅନ୍ୟ ଅଞ୍ଚଳର ରଜା ସେଇଟାକୁ ନେଇଯିବାକୁ ଅପହରଣ କରିକିରି ଆମକୁ ଅତ୍ୟାଚାର କରି ସେ ରଖିପାରିଲେନି। ସେ ଡରିକି ମାନେ ସେ ସମ୍ଭାଳି ପାରିଲେନି ଆପଣ ଫେସ୍ କରିପାରିଲେନି ଗୁହ ଶିବ ଯେଉଁ ଏତେ ବିପଦ ମାଡ଼ି ଆସିଲା ଦନ୍ତ ଧାତୁକୁ ଅପହରଣ କରିବାକୁ ଆମ ପାଖରୁ ସିଏ ହେଇଥିପାଇଁ ପଠେଇଦେଲେ ତାକୁ ଏହି କାଣ୍ଡିରେ ଯେଉଁ ଦନ୍ତ ଧାତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ତ ଯାହା ତାଙ୍କ ଏଇ ଧାତୁ ବଂଶ ବହିଟା ହେଉଛି ଏ ବିଷୟରେ ମୁଖ୍ୟ ବହି। ସେଇଟା ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କାନ ବହି। କିଛି ପଥ ନଥିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ ହେଉଛି ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ କେମିତି ଏତେ ଗମନାଗମନ ହେଉଥିଲା। ବିଶେଷ ଭାବେ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ମଙ୍କ ମାନେ ଆଉ ତ କେହି ଯାଉନଥିଲେ କୁଆଡ଼େ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଷ୍ଟ ମଙ୍କ ମାନେ କେମିତି ଯାଉଥିଲେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଯେଉଁ ଆମେ ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଅଟୋମେଟିକ୍ ଆପଣ ପଳେଇବା ପୁଣି ଯେ ଏଇଟା ତନ୍ତ୍ରରେ ଆପଣ ଅଛି ଗଛରେ ଚଢ଼ିକିରି ଯିବାଟା ତନ୍ତ୍ରରେ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ଗଛ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ନେଇଯାଉଥିଲା କି ଆଇଦର ଘୋଡ଼ାରେ ଯାଉଥିଲେ ଇଏ ତ ଆପଣ ତିବ୍ବତାନ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିରେ ଯାହା ଅଛି ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ଯେଉଁ ଛାଡ଼ିଲେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତିବ୍ବତ ସେଇଠି ସରିଯାଇଛି ଯେ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ଘୋଡ଼ାରେ ପକ୍ଷୀରାଜ ଘୋଡ଼ାରେ ବସିକି ଉପରକୁ ଉଡ଼ିଗଲେ ବାସ୍ ସରିଗଲା ଆଉ ତାପରେ କିଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଡେସ୍କ୍ରିପସନ୍ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ କେମିତି ଯାଉଥିଲେ ସବୁ ଯେତକ ଯାକ ଆପଣ ସେପଟକୁ ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି ସବୁ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଆମର ପୂର୍ବ ଭାରତରୁ କାହିଁକିନା ତନ୍ତ୍ରଯାନଟା ଆପଣ ପୂର୍ବ ଭାରତରେ କୈନ୍ଦ୍ରିକ ସିଏ ଆଉ କୁଆଡ଼େ ନାହିଁ ବିହାର ବେଙ୍ଗଲ ଆଉ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଆସାମରେ ତ ଆପଣ ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ହୁଏନ୍ ସାର୍ ରହିଲେ କିଛି ଦିନ ରହିଥିଲେ ଆସାମରେ ସିଏ ଆପଣ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି କ୍ଲିଅରଲି ଯେ ଆସାମରେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ହିଁ ନଥିଲା ତାଙ୍କ ସମୟକୁ ଆସାମରେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ବିଷୟରେ ଗୋଟେ ପଦ ଲେଖିନାହାନ୍ତି ଏଠାରେ ଲୋକ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମକୁ ଭଲ ପାଆନ୍ତିନି ସେଠି ନଥିଲା ତାର ସ୍ଥିତି ନଥିଲା। ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଯେଉଁଠି ହୁଏନ୍ ସାର୍ଙ୍କ ବିବରଣୀ ଅନୁସାରେ ଏଣ୍ଟାୟାର କୋଷ୍ଟାଲ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଆଉ ପଶ୍ଚିମ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ପୁରା ଥ୍ରାଇଭିଂ କଣ୍ଡିସନରେ ଥିଲା ମହାଯାନ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମ ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ କାହିଁକିନା ସେତେବେଳକୁ ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଉଦ୍ଭବ ହେଇନି ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଉଦ୍ଭବ ହେଲା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତିଙ୍କ ପିରିୟଡ଼ ହେଲା ଆଉ ସେତେବେଳେ ବହୁବଙ୍କର ମାନେ ରହିଲେ ଯାଜପୁରରେ ଆସିକିରି।
ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ
ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ଅଭିନନ୍ଦନ ଜଣାଉଛି ଆପଣ ଆମର ଦାସିଆ ଅଜାଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ପୁତ୍ର ହିସାବରେ ଆପଣ ତାଙ୍କର ଖ୍ୟାତିକୁ ଆହୁରି ଗୌରବାନ୍ୱିତ କରିଛନ୍ତି ଏଇ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ପୁସ୍ତକ ରଚନା କରିକି ଅନ୍ୟ ଯାହା ହେଲେ ଗବେଷଣା କରିଛନ୍ତି ତାଠୁ ଇଏ ଯଥେଷ୍ଟ ଉଚ୍ଚରେ। ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୋର ଗୋଟିଏ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଯେଉଁ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଦନ୍ତପୁର ସେଇଟା ଉପରେ ଆମର ଟିକେ ସନ୍ଦେହ ରହୁଛି ଯେ ଯେଉଁ କ୍ଷୀରୋଦ୍ୟମ ଯେଉଁ ଦାନ୍ତକୁ ନେଇକରି ରଖିଥିଲେ ସେଇଟା ଶ୍ରୀକାକୁଲମ ଜିଲ୍ଲାର ଗୋଟିଏ ସ୍ଥାନ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଦନ୍ତପୁର ବୋଲିକିରି କୁହାଯାଉଛି
ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିରେ ଅଛି ଆପଣ ସେତିକି ବେଳେ ଦିଟା ଦନ୍ତପୁର ଥିଲା ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି ଯାଜପୁରରେ ଆରଟା ହେଉଛି ଦନ୍ତପୁରମରେ ଦନ୍ତପୁରମଟା ହେଉଛି ଶ୍ରୀକାକୁଲମରେ ସେଇଟା ଥିଲା ଆପଣ ମେନଲି ଟ୍ରେଡିଂ ସିଟି ଦନ୍ତପୁରଟା ଆଉ ଦନ୍ତପୁରରୁ ଆମର ପ୍ରଚୁର ପରିମାଣରେ ହାତୀ ଦାନ୍ତ ବିଦେଶକୁ ରପ୍ତାନି ହେଉଥିଲା ଦନ୍ତପୁର ବନ୍ଦରରୁ ସେଇଟା ବି ବନ୍ଦର ଗୋଟେ ସେଇଟା ବି ସମୁଦ୍ର କୂଳରେ ତେଣୁ ଦିଟା ଦନ୍ତପୁର ଆମର ସେଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରେଡିଂ ସିଟିଟା ଦନ୍ତପୁର ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ରାଜଧାନୀ କଳିଙ୍ଗର।
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଉ ଗୋଟିଏ ଆପଣ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ କନକ୍ଲୁସିଭ ଏଭିଡେନ୍ସ ଆପଣ କେଉଁଟା ଆପଣ ତ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ତଥ୍ୟ ସେଥିରେ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ବହିରେ କେଉଁ ତଥ୍ୟଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସବୁଠୁ ଅଧିକ ଉପାଦେୟ ଏବଂ ଯୁକ୍ତିସଙ୍ଗତ ମନେ ହେଉଛି ଯେ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ଏଇ ସମଳକ ଜିଲ୍ଲା ଏ ସମଳକ ଭାଲିରେ ସେ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତିଙ୍କର ପାଳିତ ପୁତ୍ର ହିସାବରେ ଜନ୍ମ ଏଠି ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥିଲେ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କର ପାଳିତ ପୁତ୍ର ହେଇଥିଲେ କେଉଁଟା ଅତି କନକ୍ଲୁସିଭ ଏଭିଡେନ୍ସ ଏବଂ କେଉଁଟା କନକ୍ଲୁସିଭ ଏଭିଡେନ୍ସ ଯେ ସ୍ୱାଟ ଭାଲିର ସେ ନୁହନ୍ତି।
ଆପଣ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତିଙ୍କ ଯେଉଁ ବେପାରଟା ସମ୍ବଳର ରଜା ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ଏଇଟାରେ ଆପଣ କୌଣସି ଦୁଇମତ ନାହିଁ କାହିଁକି ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଅଫ୍ 84 ସିଦ୍ଧ ଯେଉଁଟା 84 ସିଦ୍ଧଙ୍କା ବୃତ୍ତାନ୍ତ ତାର ଯେଉଁ ଅରିଜିନାଲ ତିବ୍ବତାନ ବହି ସେଇଟା ହିନ୍ଦୀରେ ବି ଅନୁବାଦ କରିଛି ଆମ ତିବ୍ବତାନ ଯେଉଁ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଅଛି ସାରନାଥରେ ସେଥିରେ ଆପଣ କ୍ଲିଅରଲି ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ଯେ ସମ୍ବଳ ଆଉ ଲଙ୍କାପୁରୀ ଉଡିଆନର ହେଉଛି ଦିଟା ରାଜ୍ୟ ଦିଟା ଯାକ ଲାଗଲଗି ହେଇକି ଅଛି ଆଉ ସମ୍ବଳର ରଜା ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କ ଭଉଣୀ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ମୀକରା ସିଏ ଯାଇକି ଆପଣ ଲଙ୍କାପୁରୀ ରଜାଙ୍କୁ ସେ ବାହା ହେଇଥିଲେ ସୋନପୁରରେ ଆଉ ସେ ଆଉ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଦିଟା ଯାକ ଏଇ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଏଇଟା ଓଡ଼ିଭିସ ଆଉ ଉଡିଆନ ଅନ୍ତର୍ଗତ ଏଇ ଦିଟା ଯାକ ରାଜ୍ୟ ଆପଣ କୋଉଠି ହେଲେ ଦୁଇଟା ଆପଣ ଲଙ୍କାଟା ହେଉଛି ପଶ୍ଚିମ ଲଙ୍କା, ଏଇଟା ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶ୍ଡ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟ, ୟାର ବହୁତ ଆପଣ ଏପିଗ୍ରାଫିକାଲ ଆର୍କିଓଲୋଜିକାଲ ପ୍ରମାଣ ଅଛି। ସୋନପୁରଟା ହେଉଛି ଲଙ୍କା, ପଶ୍ଚିମ ଲଙ୍କା, ଏବଂ 11th ସେଞ୍ଚୁରୀର କେଶରୀ ବଂଶର ବହୁତ ଆପଣ ଅଛି ଇନସ୍କ୍ରିପସନରେ, ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଲଙ୍କାପୁରୀ। ଆଉ ଆପଣ ସମ୍ବଳ ଲଙ୍କାପୁରୀ ଦୁଇଟା ରାଜ୍ୟ, ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ ହେଉଛି ପୁଣି ଉଡିଆନର ପଶ୍ଚିମ କୋଣରେ। ଆପଣ ଆମ ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ପଶ୍ଚିମ ପଟ ହେଲା ସମ୍ବଳ, ତେଣୁ ସେଇଠି ଆପଣ ଏଇ ଦୁଇଟା ଯାକ ରାଜ୍ୟ, ଏଇ ଦୁଇଟା ଆଗରେ ପୁଣି ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ଆଉ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ମୀଙ୍କରାଙ୍କ ବିଷୟ, ଆଉ ଏଥିରେ ପୁଣି ସୋନପୁର ସମ୍ବଳ କଥା, ଆପଣ ଆଉ କେଉଁଠି ଆକୁ ପାଇବେନି। ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ ଆପଣ ମୁଖ୍ୟ ପ୍ରମାଣ ହେଉଛି, ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ମୁଖ୍ୟ ପ୍ରମାଣ ହେଉଛି ଯେ ଆପଣ ପଦ୍ମସମ୍ଭବ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ଯିଏ ବି ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ସେ କାହାର? ବଜ୍ରଯାନର। ସେ ସବୁ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀର। ବଜ୍ରଯାନରେ ଆପଣ 1300 ଦେବଦେବୀ, ବଜ୍ରଯାନଟା କେବଳ ଦେବଦେବୀ କୈନ୍ଦ୍ରିକ। ଦୁଇଟା ଗ୍ରନ୍ଥ ଅଛି, ସାଧନାମାଳା ଗୋଟେ, ନିଷ୍ପନ୍ନ ଯୋଗାବଳୀ, ଏଥିରେ ପ୍ରାୟ 900 ବଜ୍ରଯାନୀ ଦେବଦେବୀଙ୍କର ଡେସ୍କ୍ରିପସନ୍ ଅଛି। ଆଉ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତିଙ୍କର ଆପଣ ଯେଉଁ ସାଧନା କରିଥିଲେ, ସେ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି କୁରୁକୁଲା ସାଧନା କରିଥିଲେ। ତେଣୁ କୁରୁକୁଲା, ଉଡିଆନ କୁରୁକୁଲା ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ଆମର 4ଟା ମିଳିଛି ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ଆଜ୍ଞା। ଆଉ ସଂସାରରେ କୋଉଠି କୁରୁକୁଲାଙ୍କ ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ସଂସାରରେ କୋଉଠି ନାହିଁ, କେବଳ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ହିଁ 4ଟା କୁରୁକୁଲା ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି। ଉଡିଆନ କୁରୁକୁଲା ଯେଉଁ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରିପସନ୍ ଅଛି ସାଧନାମାଳାରେ, ଉଡିଆନ କୁରୁକୁଲା ଏମିତି ସେମିତି ଆପଣ। ଆଉ ଗାନ୍ଧାରରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ବି ଆପଣ ବଜ୍ରଯାନୀ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ମିଳିନାହିଁ, ଗୋଟିଏ ବି। ଆଉ ଗାନ୍ଧାରରେ କୌଣସି ମତେ ତନ୍ତ୍ରର ପ୍ରେଜେନ୍ସ ହିଁ ନଥିଲା। କାହିଁକି? ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଆମର ପ୍ରଥମ ମିସକନସେପସନ୍, ଐତିହାସିକ ମାନେ ବି କିଛି ପରିମାଣରେ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କରିଛନ୍ତି। ଏଇ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଇତିହାସ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ମହାଯାନଟା ହେଉଛି କନିଷ୍କଙ୍କ ବେଳେ ସେଇ ନର୍ଥ ୱେଷ୍ଟରେ, ସେଇ ଅଞ୍ଚଳରେ, ଗାନ୍ଧାର ଅଞ୍ଚଳରେ ଉଦ୍ଭବ ହେଲା। ଆଉ କନିଷ୍କ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ତାର ଆପଣ ପାଟ୍ରନ। ଏଇଟା ଏକଦମ ଆପଣ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭାବରେ ରଙ୍ଗ, ଏଇଟା ମୁଁ ପ୍ରମାଣ କରିଛି ମଧ୍ୟ ମୋ ବହିରେ। ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ରଙ୍ଗ କନସେପସନ୍ ଆମର। ଆପଣ ଅଶୋକଙ୍କ ସମୟରେ ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି 18 ଭାଗ ହେଇଯାଇଥିଲା ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମଟା। ହୀନଯାନର 2ଟା ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ଆପଣ ଭାରି ସବଳ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ଥିଲେ ତଳେ ପାଟଳୀପୁତ୍ରରେ। କେଉଁ 2ଟା ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ? ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଥେରବାଦୀ, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦୀ। ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦୀ ମାନେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ ଅଶୋକଙ୍କର ଟିକିଏ ରହୁଛି ଭିତିରି ସମର୍ଥନ ଥେରବାଦୀଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି, ତେଣୁ ସେମାନେ ପୁରା ଛାଡ଼ିକିରି ପଳେଇଲେ, ପାଟଳୀପୁତ୍ର ଛାଡ଼ିକି ପଳେଇଲେ, ଯାଇକିରି 2ଟା ଜାଗାରେ ସେଟଲ୍ କଲେ ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦୀ ମାନେ। ସେମାନେ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ହୀନଯାନୀ, ଆପଣ ପ୍ରକୃତ ମୂଳ ହୀନଯାନୀ ସେମାନେ। ସିଏ ରହିଲେ ମଥୁରାରେ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ କାଶ୍ମୀରରେ ରହିଲେ। ସେଠି ତାପରେ ଆପଣ ଅଶୋକ ତାଙ୍କ ଭୁଲ ବୁଝିପାରିଲେ, ସେ ଯାଇକି କାଶ୍ମୀର ରାଜ୍ୟର ଏଣ୍ଟାୟାର ରେଭିନ୍ୟୁ ସେ ତାକୁ ଡେଡିକେଟ୍ କରିଦେଲେ ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦୀଙ୍କୁ, ଯେ ତମେ ତମ ଧର୍ମ ପ୍ରଚାରରେ ଆକୁ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବ। ସେଇ ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦୀ ମାନେ ସେମାନେ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଡାଇନାମିକ୍। ଆଉ ଯେମିତି ଅଶୋକ ଥେରବାଦୀଙ୍କର ସ୍ପନ୍ସର ପ୍ରଚାରରେ ସବୁଥିରେ, ଆପଣ ଅଶୋକ ଏଇ କନିଷ୍କ ଯେଉଁ ଧର୍ମଟାକୁ ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଏସିଆ ଏବଂ ବିଦେଶରେ କନିଷ୍କ ବେଶୀ ଆପଣ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମଟାକୁ ପ୍ରସାର କରିଛନ୍ତି। ସିଏ କରେଇଛନ୍ତି କେଉଁଟା ନା ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦର। ଆଉ ସର୍ବାସ୍ତିବାଦଟା ଗୋଟେ ହୀନଯାନୀ ବ୍ରାଞ୍ଚ। ତେଣୁ ସେଠି କିଛି ମହାଯାନୀ ନାହାନ୍ତି କି ବଜ୍ରଯାନୀ ହିଁ ନାହାନ୍ତି। ଗାନ୍ଧାରରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ବି ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ଆପଣ ନିଜେ ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ 7ମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ବଜ୍ରଯାନଟାର ଉଦ୍ଭବ ହେଉଛି 8ମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ। 7ମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ତ ପୁରା ଆମର କିଛି ଅଞ୍ଚଳରେ ଦେଇକି ଉପକୂଳ କଳେ କଳେ ପଡ଼େଇଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟା ଯାକ ଗାନ୍ଧାର ସେ ବୁଲିଛନ୍ତି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର, ତା ଡିଟେଲ ବିବରଣୀ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି। ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରଙ୍କ ବିବରଣୀ ଅନୁସାରେ 7ମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ଗାନ୍ଧାରରେ ଶହ ଥିଲା ଆପଣ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ବିହାର, କିନ୍ତୁ ସବୁ ହେଉଛି ଶୂନ, ଆଉ ସବୁ ଭାଙ୍ଗିକି ପରିତ୍ୟକ୍ତ ସବୁ। ଆଉ କେଉଁଠି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ସନ୍ନ୍ୟାସୀ ନାହାନ୍ତି। କାହିଁକି ନା ଆପଣ ହୁଣମାନେ 4ର୍ଥ-5ମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀରେ ସେଇ ଅଞ୍ଚଳକୁ ଆକ୍ରମଣ କରିକି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ବିହାର ଗୁଡ଼ାକୁ ଆପଣ ଟାର୍ଗେଟ କରିକି ହୁଣମାନେ ଧ୍ୱଂସ କରିଦେଲେ, ଆଉ ସବୁ ମାରି ନେଇଗଲେ ଆପଣ ବୌଦ୍ଧ ସନ୍ନ୍ୟାସୀ ମାନେ। ତେଣୁ ସେଠି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ସନ୍ନ୍ୟାସୀ ନାହାନ୍ତି କି ବୌଦ୍ଧ ବିହାର କିଛି ନଥିଲା ସପ୍ତମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ କି ଆଉ ଅଷ୍ଟମ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀ କି କେମିତି ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଗଡ଼ ହବ ସେଇଟା ଆଉ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଯୋଉଠି ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଭୂତି ପଦ୍ମ ସମ୍ଭବ ସେଇଠି ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଏଇଠି ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ଉଦ୍ଭବ ଆଉ ଯାଇକା ଆପଣ ମଗଧ କାହିଁକିନା ପାଳ ରାଜା ମାନେ ବି ବେଙ୍ଗଲର ସିଏ ବି ତାର ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜି କରିଛନ୍ତି ବଜ୍ରଯାନର ଆଉ ମଗଧଟା ବି ପାଳମାନଙ୍କ ଅଣ୍ଡରରେ ଥିଲା ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ପୂର୍ବ ଭାରତ ଆଉ ଯେତକ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଆପଣ 84 ଯାକ ସିଦ୍ଧମାନଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁ ତର୍ଜୀୟାପଦ ଆପଣ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ଭାଷା ଆମର ସାନ୍ଧ୍ୟ ଭାଷାରେ ସବୁତକ ହେଉଛି ଆପଣ ବଜ୍ରଯାନ ଆଉ ସହଜଯାନର ଟେନେଟ୍ସ ତାର ଯେଉଁ ମୁଖ୍ୟ ମଞ୍ଜି ବାଣୀ ସେମାନେ ତାକୁ ସରଳ ଭାଷାରେ ଲୋକ ବୁଝିବା ଭାଷାରେ ତର୍ଜୀୟାପଦ ଆକାରରେ ପ୍ରଚାର କରୁଛନ୍ତି 84 ସିଦ୍ଧମାନେ ଆଉ ସବୁତକ ସିଦ୍ଧ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣ ପୂର୍ବ ଭାରତର କାହିଁକିନା ଯେଉଁ ଭାଷାଟା ଆପଣ ଅପଭ୍ରଂଶ ସେମାନେ ୟୁଜ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଆମର ଓଡ଼ିଆର ମୂଳ ସେଇଟା ସବୁତକ ପୂର୍ବ ଭାରତୀୟ ଭାଷାର ଗୋଟେ ବି କାହିଁକି ସେମାନେ ସିଦ୍ଧମାନେ କାହିଁକି ଗାନ୍ଧାର ଭାଷାରେ ଗୋଟେ ବି ତର୍ଜୀୟାପଦ ଲେଖି ନାହାନ୍ତି ଆଜ୍ଞା
ହଁ ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ନମସ୍କାର ଆପଣ ଯେଉଁ ଦାନ୍ତ ପ୍ରସଙ୍ଗ ଉଠେଇଲେ ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କା ଗଲା ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଲଳିତଗିରିରେ ଯେଉଁ ଦାନ୍ତ ଅଛି ତା ଉପରେ କ'ଣ କହିବେ ଆପଣ
ସେଇଟା ମୁଁ ତ ଜାଣିନି ଗବେଷକମାନେ ଏଇଟା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ତ ବୁଦ୍ଧଙ୍କର ଦାନ୍ତ ନୁହେଁ ଏଇଟା ସାରିପୁତଙ୍କର ବୋଲି କୁହାହଉଛି ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାରିପୁତଙ୍କର
सर नमस्कार आम बहुत गर्वित आम महाबोधि सोसाइटी रे आम नथिला से माने पहाड़ रे को पत्थर रे सब मूर्ति बनई की रखुले प्रथम मूर्ति बुद्धंकर भारत रे जहाँ भी आविष्कार होती और सेटा हूँ गांधार शैली से जो गांधार शैली जो मूर्ति जोटा आम राष्ट्रपति भवन रे भी अच्छी एवं से बुद्धंकर सब बुद्ध जो शांति मुद्रा रे भूमिपस मुद्रा रे से तो गांधार आसी गांधार शैली
गांधार सब हीनजानी मूर्ति
हाँ किंतु से मूर्ति गुड़ा आज पर्यंत माने कोठी पूजा पाउछंती कोठी शो करिकी रखा हेची से गांधार शैली जिते बेले इत्ते प्रोमिनेंट हेकी थिला आमे केमती कहि परिबा जे
प्रकृତରେ ग्रीक शैली
हाँ तो मोर प्रश्न थिला तो से पई जो गांधार रे आमे कहू जे कोनो से प्रकार रो एमिति हीनयान किबा वज्रयान रे किछि उपस्थिति रथिला
हां केवल हीनयान रो गांधार रो जतक मूर्ति मो पाखरे कैटलॉग अछि गुटी गुटी हेकी हजार हजार
आज्ञा
को गोटाक ता बैकग्राउंड सबुतक होची आपण सर्वास्तिवादी मूर्ति आ नाही बोली सेठी तो बाहरी आपण मूर्ति कला मथुरा गांधार सर्वास्तिवादी माने सर्वास्तिवादी माने रहिले मथुरा रे गांधार रे आ सेई माने आपण ताकर कनिष्क होचंती वेस्ट एशिया लोक सेंट्रल एशिया रो से ताकर जो ग्रीक माने करो थिला आपण गांधार रे ताकर एस्टाब्लिशमेंट ग्रीक आर्टिस्ट की लगई से माने सबुतक सर्वास्तिवादी कला सर्वास्तिवाद बौद्ध मूर्ति
से थोरे कोनो से वज्रयान रो कोनो से
हाथ आज्ञा नहीं गोटिए नहीं गोटे भूल रे भी कुछ नहीं
थैंक यू
आज्ञा
सोर्स रे बहुत प्राचीन बोली किंतु केतेक सोर्स रे मु देखिछि जे पुष्पगिरी ताठू भी प्राचीनतर थिला तृतीय चतुर्थ शताब्दी मध्ये थिला ए विषय आपन मत कोन
अपन पुष्पगिरी कथा हुएनसा भी लिखिं हुएनसा जो सप्तम शताब्दी आसते सी भिविडली डेस्क्राइब कर पुष्पगिरी जो चमत्कारी गुण सब पुष्पगिरी राति आपड़ केमी सब आलुओ बाहर आपड़ खाली पुष्पगिरी नुह से दीटा जगह कथा लिखिं पुष्पगिरी सांगे आउ गोटे जगार भी सब राति चमत्कार माने आग्नेयगिरी भाया सब आलुओ खाली बाहर राति से लिखी तार पाखे माने आउ तो किसी ना रत्नगिरी हो निश्चित तेणु पुष्पगिरी कथा रत्नगिरी कथा हुएनसा लिखि नथिले खोलिकी पुष्पगिरी कथा लिखिं आउ गोटे ता पाखे बोली लिखिं ये दीटा जाकरू आप सब चमत्कारी जिनस सी देखिं ये दीटा जाक विषय क्लीयरली लिखिं तेणु सप्तम शताब्दी अधारे हुएनसा आसते तेणु ता पूर्वर पुष्पगिरी पूरा अंतर्जातीय ख्याति अर्जन कर सारी पुष्पगिरी ता सांगरे रत्नगिरी
धन्यवाद श्रीजुक्त पट्टनायक। आज आम आपण भाई जन ज्ञान आ गोटे प्रश्न पचारे लास्ट प्रश्न पचार
आज्ञा द्वितीय बुद्ध पद्मनाभंकर उदयगिरी ललितगिरी रत्नगिरी संगे किसी संपर्क अच्छी कि
आज्ञा ललितगिरी संगे किसी संपर्क नहीं किंतु रत्नगिरी और उदयगिरी संगे अच्छी मुझे आगुरी कहली सी रत्नगिरी रे पढ़िले सेठू पलैले किंतु तिब्बत से जो फेरिले फेरिला पर से रहिले उदयगिरी रे एवं उदयगिरी ही तांकर महापरिनिर्वाण होईची आ उदयगिरी रे महापरिनिर्वाण होईची एटा आपण एठी आर्कियोलॉजिकल प्रमाण भी अच्छी गोटे लोकेश्वर मूर्ति पछपटे लोकेश्वर अवलोकितेश्वर मूर्ति पछपटे 8.5 फुट उच्चार मूर्ति रे 25 लाइन रे गोटे इनस्क्रिप्शन अच्छी से इनस्क्रिप्शन रे क्लियर लिखाई उदयगिरी रे जे पद्म संभवंकर अच्छी ध्वंसा अवशेष जो रिमेन्स बॉडी रिमेन्स एठी अच्छी यही स्तूप एठी स्तूप भितर अच्छी यही कथा लिखाई क्लीयरली। अच्छा दीटा आपण तांकर जो महाप्रयाण स्थलटा मो बहिरे भी लिखी सेटा टिके विवादीय सेटा विवादीय होची सेटा आपण गौहाटी पाखरे आपण एटा कौन बड़ माधव मंदिर जो अच्छी से माधव मंदिर रे सेठी भी पद्म संभव आ बुद्धंकर मूर्ति अच्छी एवं सी शह शह वर्ष धरिकी तिब्बतन मैंने तीर्थक्षेत्र कर बुद्ध यहीटा हूँ ताकू हेटा कहते कौन बुद्धंकर महापरिनिर्वाण जगह जमी सेटा कौटा नहीं यहाँ गोरखपुर पाखे तांकर जो मेन जगहटा समाधि जगहटा किंतु सेटा जेहेतु गोटे समाधि स्थल कहते बुद्धंकर तो नुहे तेणु यहाँ द्वितीय बुद्धंकर पद्म संभव करूँ से मैंने कहते किंतु किसी प्रमाण है ना ये तो प्रमाण अच्छी लेखाई ही पद्म संभवकर अच्छी शारीरिक ध्वंसा हाजर माधव मंदिर नहीं प्रमाण सिद्ध नुहे।
समस्त को धन्यवाद विशेषकर श्रीजुक्त पट्टनायक एते समय धरी तांकर ज्ञान आम साथी बांटिले जड़े नीरव ज्ञान तपस्वी आम तांकर छु आज एते कथा शिखिपारे तेणु हृदय कृतज्ञता और धन्यवाद जन मुझे पुणी थे आम समस्त तरफ धन्यवाद जन आज ये सेशन शेष कर।
नमस्कार आमे देखुलु सेतबेलू आपण एपर्यंत समस्ते धीर स्थिर ही शुणुचंती सतरे सार आपण गोटे साधारण जीवन को किपरि असाधारण करा जाए ताहा आज आमर समस्त श्रोता मानक दर्शक मानक दर्शाइचंती गोटे जीवन को आपण रिसर्च रे नहीं एते सुंदर भाव में सारगर्भक तथ्य एठी रखिले आपण को अनेक अनेक कृतज्ञता आमे केले परिवार आपण पाखरे कृतज्ञ ज्ञापन करूछु। मुझे विनम्र अनुरोध करी आम गहन उपस्थित अच्छा पद्म विभूषण श्रीजुक्त सुदर्शन साहू महोदय एवं आम केएलएफ पृष्ठपोषक श्रीजुक्त अशोक बल महोदय बर्तमान आपण को आम आम केएलएफ परिवार पक्षर कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करूँ एक सम्मान प्रदान करूँ आपण जोरदार करताली अनुरोध करूँ। बुद्ध जेपरी सरल लगती किंतु तांको जीवन जेपरी असाधारण सेहीपरि भाव में आज प्रबीर पट्टनायक सार आमको जो तथ्य सब देले प्रकृत में ताहा सारगर्भक आम समस्त हृदय को छुईची आपण पाखे आम समस्ते नतमस्तक अनेक अनेक कृतज्ञता आम आशा करूँ एवं भगवान को प्रार्थना करूँ आपण सुस्थता पाई। आमे कार्यक्रम शेष भाग में पहुँचलुणु आपण समस्त आमर यही गृह बाहर आपण चा और जलखार व्यवस्था कराई आपण ग्रहण करेंगे से पूर्व मुझे कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करने चाहिए आज कार्यक्रम को अत्यंत सारगर्भक मनोरम करिथिबा वरिष्ठ प्रशासनिक अधिकारी डॉक्टर उपेंद्र बेहेरा महोदय को कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करी प्रोफेसर डीवी रमणा महोदय को कृतज्ञता देवी विशिष्ट लेखक बुद्ध पिपासु श्रीजुक्त प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर प्रबीर नायक को समस्त को निज प्रश्न और आलोचन बांधि रखी आम केएलएफ उपदेष्टा प्रोफेसर जतीन्द्र सार ଏବଂ ଏଭଳି ସଫଳ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମ ପାଇଁ କେଏଲ୍ଏଫ୍କୁ ଏବଂ ତାର ପୃଷ୍ଠପୋଷକ ଶ୍ରୀଯୁକ୍ତ ଅଶୋକ ବଳ ମହୋଦୟଙ୍କୁ ଏବଂ ରଶ୍ମି ରଞ୍ଜନ ପରିଡ଼ା ଯେ କେଏଲ୍ଏଫ୍ର ପ୍ରତିଷ୍ଠାତା ଦୂରରେ ରହି ମଧ୍ୟ ଏହି କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମକୁ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଭାବରେ କିପରି ସଫଳ କରାଯିବ ତାର ତଦାରଖ କରୁଥିବାରୁ ଏବଂ ଆପଣ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଆରମ୍ଭରୁ ଏପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ରହିଥିବାରୁ ନମସ୍କାର।